Master criminal Neil McCauley is trying to control the rogue actions of one of his men, while also planning one last heist before retiring. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Hannah attempts to track down McCauley as he deals with the chaos in his own life, including the infidelity of his wife and the mental health of his stepdaughter. McCauley and Hannah discover a mutual respect for each other even as they try to thwart each other's plans, leading to a final showdown between the two men. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 1995's Heat, written and directed by Michael Mann.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. Welcome back to another year of Midnight Double Feature. I know this is not our first episode of the year, but it is the first episode with myself and Colin, the OGs of MDF.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Colin. Yeah, it's good to be back, man. We just come hot off the presses from recording a bonus episode for our members. Because quite frankly, we love them more than you guys.
They pay us to love them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, they do. We are prostitutes, basically. But no. Honestly, like this is awesome. We're excited for another year of podcasting. We're excited for another year of talking about movies, about things that we love, with the people that we love. It's not just Colin and I in a kind of like a little vacuum here. It's you guys as well. We love you guys getting involved. You can do that by joining our socials or just interacting with us on the socials, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or even, on our Patreon by signing up for $5 a month. You'd be able to just talk to us, we're always open for a chat. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's great. I love interacting with you guys. Had a great break, got COVID, this, that, whatever. I'm fine now. I'm excited to be back in the podcasting chair. Colin, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm likewise. Except for the COVID part, I'm fine. I'm excited to talk about Heat. This is on the list. This is like a bucket list podcast movie thing. This is, you only get to talk about these once, and I feel like this round has been chambered for 4 years. And it's all right. It's time to bust that Heat nut. It's time to get that guy out of there. And it's. I love talking about these, but I'm always sad because then later on I have plenty of time where I go, oh, we should cover that movie, and I'm like, oh, we already covered it. I'm like, oh shit. And I feel like with Heat, it's been a long time coming. So it's like your kid moving out. You're sad to see him go, but at the same time, it's like, well, you got to have an awesome episode with it as well.
No, absolutely, man. This is in making this pick, I was incredibly nervous, but I was like, man, we got to kick the year off big. Right, I mean, we gotta come out guns blazing, and what better movie to come out guns blazing to than with Heat? This is an incredible movie, just straight out of the bat. I think straight off the bat. Sorry, I think Michael Mann really captured lightning in a bottle with this movie. This is just one of those movies that's been absolutely celebrated in popular culture, whether it's video games in Grand Theft Auto or whether it's, other movies that kind of use this as inspiration, like The Town. I think, this movie in particular has had its sort of copycats. Quentin Tarantino talks a lot about he talks a lot about after Reservoir Dogs, there was all these sort of copycat movies, and they haven't done them better, but they've just kind of taken the wrong sort of lessons from my movie and just sort of applied them sort of willy-nilly to their movie, and it just really hasn't worked well.
Very
I think
superficial.
Heat definitely falls into that sort of category. I think I think The Dark Knight gets a lot of sort of comparisons to Heat, and a lot of it is very warranted. It's The Dark Knight's color palette is very similar to Michael Mann's, the blue, the steely blue, whatever. And the grounded sort of gritty aspect to the action, and this, that. But I think we talked about The Town, we've covered The Town, and I think we definitely compared The Town to Heat. And The Town is great. I definitely love that movie. I just think, it looks at Heat and it's just like, huh, okay, we can do like the badass sort of like criminal cops and robbers thing. The cops and robbers thing feels very shallow in that movie. It's kind of like my least favorite element of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the relationship between Affleck and Rebecca Hall in that movie a lot better. But yeah, look, I think this is quite frankly, I think this movie belongs in a museum, to quote Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
This is just one of those movies, man. Like, I mean, everyone describes this as a crime saga or a crime epic.
Yeah.
And there's not many movies that really get that label, especially crime epic or crime saga.
Yeah.
And I wondered for a while why people call it that, and it feels like an adventure. Like, it feels like, from frame one to, the final frame, we've gone on this massive journey, like, to get to know these characters, to get to know the setting, to get to know LA, and, these kind of like betrayals that happen, and these big shootouts, and these
double
big kind
crosses and shit.
The double cross, yeah, and the characters' relationships between not only their wives or their girlfriends, but with each other. And it feels like we've gone through this big circle. We've gone through something. We've been through something. We've gone through the breach, and by the end of it, we're left with this very complete feeling. But yeah, I think this is an incredible film with great characters, great action, great cinematography, great score. This movie is the epitome of a 10 for me. I don't think I can speak very much higher about this movie. And that's what, very sort of like intimidating about this podcast is, what can we say that hasn't been said about it already? Like, this is a movie that's been out for, 27 years, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone under the sun has talked about this movie. Everyone under the sun has praised this movie. So what are we bringing to it is really what, my kind of like trepidation is when I chose this movie for the podcast. But I mean, like, this movie, like you said, has been in the background in pretty much all of our episodes. We've always talked about this movie since, we started the podcast. And, now I'm just absolutely, I'm excited more than anything now. I think I've gotten over the fear and I've gotten over the intimidation, and now I'm just like, man, I'm just excited to break down these characters and break down this movie.
No, yeah, same here. Let me ask you, when was the first time that you saw it?
I saw this in high school. It was probably early high school. I was probably 14, 13, maybe. Yeah,
because I did not catch this until I was like 22 or 20. No, I was probably 22 or 23, or somewhere around there, 24. And I remember buying it at Walmart because I remember always seeing the case of this at our local video store called Unlimited Video. I remember seeing it there on the case, and I was like, wow. And it was, I think it was, the glasses, like they were, the sunglasses were just that dark blue on the case. And I was like, what is that? And, it's just one of those movies that was always in the background. And then I finally watched it, and I was just like, man, this is like, it was around this time that I saw this and like Blade Runner, and like I was seeing like just a lot of unbelievable films that I couldn't believe nobody was really talking about. And to me, it's not a perfect movie. It's close to a 10 there, but there's some parts like, I think the way they handle like Amy Brenneman's character with Edie is kind of flimsy. It's like, like I don't really feel like she's a character. I almost feel like she is like not a plot device, but almost kind of like an item at points, because she's like this only attachment that Neil McCauley has to like the world, basically. And I think that's just kind of like her role in it. And she does the best that she can with a lot of that stuff, but her accent fucking killed. As somebody from the South, she's like, I go for graphic design. And I was like, oh, okay, calm down there. And I was like, that's a little, you're pushing a little hard, but I love Amy Brenneman. Apparently I was watching something Michael Mann said that, he sent it to Amy Brenneman, and she read it, and she was like, yeah, I hate this movie. Like, I hate these characters. They're awful. And there's just so much gun and violence and blood. And he goes, yeah. And that's why you have to be Edie. She's like the only sane person in the whole fucking movie. She's like the moral, code. And I was like, and he's like, that's why you have to do it, because it's like, you understand, you're not insane like these other people. But I think there's some weird, like, there's some pretty bad green screen at some point that we'll get to it, but I'm like, oh man, that looks that looks pretty rough. But it's hard to knock this movie. Lights. Right. It's hard to knock this movie because there's so many fucking good things versus how many cons there are, like the performances, the sound design, the soundtrack. But it's also a movie that doesn't really make you feel like you're a fucking idiot. Like it doesn't like have to explain every little thing to you. There's really only one point in the movie where finally a character is like, hey, this is what has happened so far. And it's kind of necessary and it makes sense and it doesn't bother me. There's a lot of nuts and bolts. There's a lot of parts and pieces to this story. And there's a lot of things where you're like, wait, what's going on here? Or how did this person do this? And the movie doesn't really care if you're like keeping up with it or not. It's just going to go without you. And I love movies like that. But there's some weird edits. I think one of the worst is when Al Pacino's in the garage talking to Alfred. Or is it, what is that? The guy, Albert, when he's talking to Albert, and Albert's mouth is moving at one point and the words are something completely different. And I'm like, oh God. And it's just crazy in a movie of this caliber to see something like that. I was like, well, I don't know what happened, but just, but there's there's just a certain quality to this movie that it's like, it left me going like, obviously, again, what can you say that hasn't been said about the shootout or the first time De Niro and Pacino shared a screen or the real life story behind Heat? Like and we can get into those things. But what I'm most importantly, I wanted to walk away from it and go, what is this movie about? Like, but all the things that I love about it are almost like superficial, the performances and the gunfights and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I love those things, but like, what is this movie really like about? And I think it's about obsession. Everything is just like everything is, and nobody fucking gets what they want. Nobody, even really Vincent Hannah, doesn't. Yeah, he gets Neil, but that's not really what he wanted. He didn't want to have to kill Neil, but it also, he had to kill somebody that he actually kind of liked, and he lost his family at the same time. Like everybody is losing something, and nobody fucking gets what they want in this. It's like such a Greek. Like the actor who plays Justine, she was like, yeah, this is like a Greek fucking tragedy. Like everything just like, it's like Shakespeare. It's like everything just starts falling fucking apart at the end. And by the end, everybody has like a hole in them or like a limb missing, and it's even Vincent, Vincent is a party to that as well, of just fucking obsession. And I'm excited to get into all of that. I really, really, really do love this movie. The cast just got it stacked, man. Even down to smaller roles, when you've got Hank Azaria, and then you've got John
Ted
Boyd,
Levine, Wes Studi,
Wes
Dennis
Studi,
Haysbert,
Jeremy Piven is in this for like 2 seconds. It's just insane, like the amount of people that pop up that are, it's like, I don't want to say bit parts, like, but just even the small parts had somebody in them that just like went on to something. Dennis Haysbert, everybody.
Henry Rollins,
Henry Rollins, like William Fichtner. It's like this movie is stacked. That's why apparently Christopher Nolan, when they were making The Dark Knight, he would show them Heat, and he was like, "This is what we're making," and like basically this, get used to the style of this. And that's why I think it's a little holdover. They got William Fichtner to be the guy at the beginning of Dark Knight.
You and your friends are dead.
Oh, I love that. But there's a lot of shit about this movie too, that like Keanu Reeves was like almost Chris, like he was almost Val Kilmer's part. Apparently Don Johnson was like kept on the back burner in case De Niro or Pacino like pulled out. Obviously connections with Miami Vice and stuff. And the guy, we've talked about this director a couple of times now, Walter Hill, Streets of Fire and The Warriors, he almost directed this shit. And I was like, holy hell, man. Like there's a lot of like cool behind the scenes stuff when it comes to like the shootouts, obviously their training and stuff like that. But I love, the little things that you actually have to do a little digging to find. It's like, I don't want to just read IMDb trivia the whole time. It's like, no, I want to watch and read some stuff and do some digging. And we can get into some more of that stuff because there's a lot of There's a lot of meat into this, but the only movie I could really even somewhat compare it to outside of the genre of like crime stuff, obviously you can compare it to like The Town and even like Baby Driver to some degree. Like there's some, elements of that. But is The Prestige. Like between these two guys that are kind of in the same profession but they're obsessed with each other and trying to best one another.
That's a good,
It's
definitely
it's somewhat close, but by the end, basically one of them's dead and blah, blah, blah. It's interesting nonetheless, but I'm ready to jump into this shit because I've wanted to talk this movie for a long time. I really enjoy it. It's great to watch with your sound bar up to like 80, any more than that. And it it rattles my fucking studs in my wall because it's just, it's real gunfire, that's been recorded. It's fucking insane. Like I plugged my little Roku up to a big Bugatti M90 Bluetooth speaker that's like a rugged mountain climbing speaker, and this thing gets fucking loud. And I turn that shit up, and even just the moments like when he throws the chair into William Fichtner's house, I fucking jumped. I was like, God damn it! Like, Jesus Christ, that's loud. Just the sound design, like speakers and surround sound and sound bars were made for movies like Heat, and it's so. Oh man, it's such a specific taste of sound. It's incredible. I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. The sound design of this movie was well ahead of its time. One thing that I just really kind of wanted to just follow up on, not follow up on, but like, you mentioned this is about obsession. I like that because I was going to say it's about loneliness, but like, their obsession leads to their loneliness,
right,
it's all tied. It all ties together. So, like, very much like The Prestige that you mentioned, which is a fucking great comparison, dude. Like, both of those characters in that movie go through almost the same thing in this movie, except in that movie, I'm just going to say, I think in that movie, and I watched it pretty recently as well. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, they die hating each other. Mm-hmm. Whereas in this, I think...
Right. Like a mutual respect.
I think there's a mutual respect, and, we'll talk about it when we get to it, but Vincent, I think, is pretty upset when he kills Neil. Like, I think, there's a lot of... he actually really regrets it, and he says in the diner scene, like, I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to have to put you down. Like, when I have to put you down.
Right.
Like, he's the only person in the world that understood him. Right.
Like
you said, it's a great tragedy.
Well, and I also feel like as it goes along, you kind of get the feeling that Al Pacino likes De Niro more than De Niro likes Pacino. Like, I feel like De Niro does. He's like, okay, cool. Yeah, we've met. You're funny. You're cool. Like, we kind of get along, but like, we're not going to go get a hot dog and a beer and go watch a game. It's like, that ain't going to happen. Like, you're not my friend. Like, you're the reason why I have to look over my shoulder. Like, you don't have to look over your shoulder for me. I have to look over my shoulder for you. I think that's a really interesting dynamic. And Nate says that. He was like, this guy can miss. You can't miss. He can swing and miss all he wants. You can't miss once. I was like, oh, that's such a good way to put it,
I love that the dichotomy, it's not exactly 50-50. It's more like 40-60,
Right. The gazelle does not want to be friends with the lion, no matter how much the lion is, trying. I'm so excited to jump into this. And right away, Zoeb's like, hey, this is fucking huge. Can we split this? So he's taking the first half. I'm taking the second half. You'll get a nice little variety.
Yeah, exactly. Quick question before we do kick off. Was this your introduction to Michael Mann?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I had not seen Public Enemies or anything.
Oh, right. Okay. Nice. First one I saw of his was Public Enemies.
It's really
first one I saw of his
was
Collateral. Sorry, Collateral was always on TV.
Yeah. I didn't watch that until the podcast. Till we did it for the show.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember being fucking blown away.
Which one do you like more?
Collateral.
Oh, see, I like Collateral. The scale of the stories is just so different, and it's like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. It's like, dude, I can't. Like, come on. It's like the same movie, but not. It's very it's incredible. But God, Heat is just. Oh, there's something about it that's just so. I don't know. That's a whole. We could talk about that for like an hour.
I think both of them are amazing. But I think there's something about Collateral in like the intimacy of it, He Heat is huge. It feels big, but it's also intimate as well.
Collateral's more like Misery, you know? It feels like Misery a little bit. That confined taxi cab with this like person right behind you the whole time.
The taxi cab actually feels like a character as well. But yeah.
All
right, man, let's get into this bitch. This is going to be a big, meaty bitch, I assume. So what I love about the opening of this movie is that it mirrors the opening of Collateral, or rather, Collateral mirrors the opening of this. Like this movie opens on the MTA and ends at the airport, whereas Collateral opens at the airport and ends in the MTA.
I dig it.
It's just nice touch. Especially because like oh dude, by the way, after we covered Collateral, you recommended Manhunter.
Yeah, I did. I think I've watched like half of it, and I own it, and I need to finish it. The first half I've loved. I just need to go to finishing it.
I watched it all, dude. It's so fucking good.
It's great. I'm so bad. I'll probably finish it after we get done recording, honestly, because I want to watch it.
Yeah.
I've got like a boner for Michael Mann now.
It's so good. Yeah. No, I was looking up Thief. I want to watch Thief as well.
The James Caan.
Yeah. The movie that I followed this up with was A Time to Kill. It was on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's one of the movies that inspired me to become a lawyer. I fucking love that movie. But
you can find a really cool conversation. It's John Grisham novel, I think. You can find a really cool. It's like an hour-long sit-down between him and Stephen King talking for a while. And John Grisham's like this Southern lawyer, and it's real weird when you hear him talk. And it's like, whoa, holy shit, you sound like Rooster Cogburn. Like, what the fuck? I'll say,
that's awesome. I'll definitely check that out. But yeah, like it's interesting because like Time to Kill also has Ashley Judd, and the score is also done by Elliot Goldenthal. So I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. All right. But yeah, like at the beginning, we already get that score from Goldenthal. We follow Neil, and already like De Niro's like doing his acting here. Like it's it's clear that he's a man on a mission. Like he's he's looking around at things and like he's very alert. He knows where he's going. He's taking things in. He takes off in the ambulance that we know is what they're going to use in the robbery coming up. I love this movie because it's very like the attention to detail is incredible. Like he's dressed in paramedics uniform, so nobody questions why civilians getting in an ambulance. But there's no like, he's not suiting up in it or anything like that. Like we never see him like put it on and like.
It's so funny you say that.
Dialogue about it.
You can find on YouTube. It's like I think it's like 3 hours long, like the length of the movie. The Michael Mann like commentary, and he said like first thing he said is like, I just really wanted to like drop people into this world right away and give them no clue. Perfect. And then when everything happens, and you're like, oh, the ambulance, the shape charges, like everything makes sense all of a sudden, and you're like, oh my god. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of how I felt the first time. Like once I saw where everything was going, I was like, whoa, everything just jumped like a whole level. And
you're just piecing everything together.
Yeah, right away.
We meet Chris Shiherlis. I gotta say that Kilmer is my MVP of this movie. I love Robert Downey Jr. I love De Niro. I love Pacino. Mm-hmm. But as a man, as a kid, I totally had a man crush on Kilmer at this point because this was the same year he played Batman.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, he's a hunk. I love his line. He was like, yeah. He's like, what am I doing in this rat bastard relationship? And he was like, he's like, you're not. Leave your keys and your checkbook on your way out the door. And it's like, dude, his delivery is,
so fucking explosive.
Yes. And he's also so subtle in this as well. I can see why he's personally not my MVP, but I think my MVP might be, the president in 24, Donald Ray's. Oh, fuck. I had his name pulled up.
Dennis Haysbert?
Dennis Haysbert, thank you. I love what he does in this, and his character is like a foot in both worlds of this. Oof. Oh, it's such and you kind of go like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he even in here? Like, I think a lesser movie would have cut this part out, but his character is like on both sides of like that coin of like trying to go straight and just like no, but he's just another example of nobody gets what they want. He's like my MVP. I love Dennis Haysbert in this.
Yeah, absolutely. His storyline, I was talking to Steph about it. It's just such a microcosm of like the failure of the correctional system.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a great little sort of like side story. It's beautiful. And then we meet our boy Vincent, right? He's also shown to be very proficient in his job, fucking his wife during a section of morning sex here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, imagine what Pacino's moans would sound like.
Oh, she got a great ass. I'm gonna stick my dick all the way up it.
All the way up it. You know, she's been dick down good because she needs a cigarette after.
Dude, that cigarette was so like
the cut to it was so good, dude.
Oh, I love it.
Young Portman, right? I mean, like, this is just after Leon the Professional. Like, she's already made a name for herself. You know, and like, again, the screenwriting is brilliant because she calls him Vincent. Hey, Vincent. Like, you know, it tells you what you need to know about the family unit here without telling you what's up, you know?
Right.
And Portman's great here. She breaks down about being late. She's definitely a talented child actor, but like, Mann's already, like, he's telling you, I think she's great, dude. She's awesome.
I didn't love this because it's just so much so fast that it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't realize, and sometimes it's still hard for me to be like, that's how she is that fucked up, you know. And it's kind of like you kind of have to be like, wow, because they don't show a lot of like what's going on with her, so it was kind of like they have to do a lot in a little bit of time. And sometimes I think it comes on a little strong, you know. But I'm like, I can deal with it though. I get it. She's super fucked up. Even Michael Mann was like, she's terrified her father's like going to leave her behind, basically, you know, and her mom's kind of absent.
Exactly. I like it because, you know, it tells you what she thinks of her father, her real father.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
trying to get that approval.
How much she values that relationship, for sure.
Right.
Waingro, baby. The most Trevor looking motherfucker to ever have lived.
So, trivia, a little MDF trivia for you. What is one of the only other movies that this guy is in, I'm pretty sure, that we've talked about, if you can guess.
Ooh, I can't remember. Can you give me a hint?
It's another crime film, somewhat. Drug crime film.
Blow?
He's in Blow, exactly. That's Kevin Gage, and he's the guy at the end of Blow. I don't know if you remember, but he reaches over and takes his pocket knife when he's in the bathroom, and he's like, "Listen, he's a nice guy, but we got to do what we got to do." You know, that's him. And apparently, I think I might be wrong, but Kevin Gage actually did serve some time. And when he went to prison, everybody called him Waingro. I was like, "That's cool, man. That's but you know, you're not going to get shanked or raped. You know, I mean, somebody might be like, hey, you know, you might be a high value target, but so many people in there would probably think you're so fucking cool, you know, because you're this badass, like, crazy motherfucker in Heat."
Did you ever play Canon Lynch? He reminded me of one of those characters.
Yeah, I think I played it a little bit, but yeah, he's like a straight up. He was married to Kelly Preston. Holy shit, that's crazy.
Oh, damn.
I did not even know that.
John Travolta got a little double dip, huh?
Yeah, I guess. He's in G.I. Jane. He's in a bunch of shit. Huh, that's interesting.
So, they're getting acquainted on the job, right? This is Michael Chirito and Waingro getting acquainted. We learned that they're a tight crew, always working together. And this is where we get the first instance of Slick, right? And Waingro is visibly offended when he's told to stop talking, right? So he's coming into this job already kind of like on the edge. He's like,
giving him the fucking murder beams, dude.
Dude. The headlights.
Yeah, makes me think of Sopranos when Tony Soprano's talking to Richie Aprile, and he's like, "Stop fucking staring at me with your mansion lamps." I fucking love that.
Dude, yes! I remember that too. As soon as you said that, it just clicked. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh, man.
Of course, the cast of characters in Neil's crew wouldn't be complete without Machete himself, Danny Trejo.
Who's just Trejo in this, I'm pretty sure.
Just Trejo.
Come on, dude. That's cool.
But also Danny Trejo's done time as well. I don't know what he done time for, though. What did he... Do you know what he did?
I do not. Not off the top of my head. I don't think it was anything...
Let me pull that up, Jamie. Let me pull that up.
Yeah. I don't think it was anything crazy. Like, I don't think he murdered anybody. You know.
Age 7, Trejo participated in his first drug deal. He was first arrested at the age of 10, but experienced his first incarceration at juvie in 1956. Doesn't say. Oh, it says he was like kind of like in and out. I think for drugs,
drug
issues,
petty theft and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Trejo, and even as little as he's in this, he really fills that world out really well. You know, he's even though he's just kind of like the driver, I don't think he picks up a weapon in this movie. You know, but he feels like such a important role.
No, absolutely. But I love the build up to this. The anticipation is great. Mann does such a great job with anticipation in this movie. The music's low key, it's not over the top, and it's obviously super well planned out and timed with the ambulance and truck syncing together to take out the armored truck. It's 3 minutes exactly. You know, they're syncing up their watches.
Yeah.
Dude. One of my MVP shots in this movie, the shot of the back windows being blown out as
I'm watching that right now. Oh,
holy
it's so
fuck.
Good. Dude, I'm telling you, first time I saw it, my mind was so fucking blown. Yeah. I was so just like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, that's my first, it's like, and none of this, by the way, none of this movie is done in a studio or on a lot or anything. Like, these are all 100% real locations. And I kind of feel bad for the people that would live anywhere near this. Yeah, they have like dogs and shit. Yeah. Like, that's gotta be awful. Especially downtown, you know, they said those gunshots would just ring for like 8 to 10 seconds off the skyscrapers and shit, you know? So I just imagine some poor bastard being like, what the fuck is going on, you know, when they're doing this shit? But it's I mean, like you mentioned Grand Theft Auto, this is literally a Grand Theft Auto 5 mission.
One of the early missions, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like something heist. I can't remember what the name. Blitz play. That's what it's called. Blitz play. You actually get an achievement when you get the hockey mask. You know, you can pick your own costume. You get an achievement for it. I was like, that's really fucking cool, man. Like, it just shows you the influence. I mean, literally, this 95 Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, what, like 2011, like 2012 or something, maybe. It's like that influence, and it's influencing the highest selling entertainment product of all time. You know, it takes a direct influence from Heat. It just shows you, like, God, it's almost like, because there's not a lot of like pagers and like big floppy cell phones and like fax machine, you know, and shit like that. It feels kind of timeless, you know, like I don't feel like this movie has really aged poorly at all.
Except for the moment where Pacino picks up his car phone, because that's a little wild.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like my brain doesn't. I'm like, oh yeah, cell phone, car phone, whatever, you know, fucking thing. Yeah, but if it were like, you know, people riding in like Segways and shit, like if this was a movie from like 2003, I'd be like, oh, okay, get out of here.
Of course, this doesn't go according to plan, because there's a new guy on the team, Waingro. He's the I guess the wild card. A tiny flaw in Neil's immaculate planning. Michael also calls Waingro slick here, which comes back. And this is where we get our first taste, a little lick of the incredible sound design we're dealing with in this movie, as Waingro executes this guard and the others are forced to leave no witnesses. Dude, the way they execute, I don't know who it is that executes that last one, man, but like the way that he shoots that, it's a wide angle, like it's like a side profile as well. And it looks so brutal, it looks so realistic. There's something that makes you wince about it, because it's just like, this doesn't feel like a movie we're watching. It feels like a real live execution we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's going to go down to the sound design, surely.
I heard something in Michael Mann's commentary where he said, so one of Neil's crew is recovering and they're picking up Waingro as a replacement. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is like a Mr. Orange thing. Like that nobody's ever worked with this dude before. You know, this is not like a person you might get if your bass player's sick. You know, this is like some dude from out of town. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And I want to talk about like also the cinematographer, Dante Spinati. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but he basically does all of Michael Mann shit. He did like Hudson Hawk. He did like The Insider, did X-Men The Last Stand, unfortunately. But he also did Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is really crazy.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Yeah,
he's done a bunch of, like, unfortunately, Brett Ratner shit, but also basically all of
Red Dragon.
Last of the Mohicans. He's done a lot of really good shit.
Like Confidential. That's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to shout that guy out because, I mean, obviously Michael Mann, writer and director, but good God, dude. I mean, this is the definition of cinema porn. This is what cinephiles like fucking come for, man. It's just shit like this, you know. It shots like this and like No Country for Old Men. You know, it's one thing that the story and everything is just so incredibly tight, but somehow an epic drama. But it's shot just like the city is such a goddamn character, and even in this first scene, you get that. You know, the TV guy with the TV in his cart and stuff. It just feels so huge, man. Right off the bat. So it's funny. We're introducing all these characters, and then subtly, almost subconsciously, we're introducing LA. You know, we're showing you what this world is really like. It's really intelligent. It's a very intelligent choice.
I'm glad you talked about LA because this movie is very much about LA as Ghostbusters is very much New York to me.
Hell
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just it's just immediately like, oh yes, of course, it's LA. We haven't talked about much about LA Takedown. I'm not sure. Like, you can just go ahead and fill that gap if you want.
I haven't seen it. Apparently, it was like the first. I guess Michael Mann trimmed like part of Heat down to like a 40-minute TV movie. Apparently, it wasn't received well right away, but there's like a cult following for it now. I wouldn't mind seeing it. It's got Michael Rooker in it, I think, if memory serves correct. But
the guy that plays Ralph is in it as well.
Ralph from what?
He's the one in Heat. He's the one that that Vincent's missus is hitting up.
Oh yeah, he's in Hellraiser 2 and stuff. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's in Terminator 2 as well.
That's right. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Where are we at?
Oh no, that's what I was gonna say. So yeah, like I mean, apparently Mann wrote Heat in 1979, a 180-page draft. And then
holy shit,
he rewrote it, making Thief, and then it got shelved for a while, and then he made LA Takedown, and then wild, huh? But yeah, police canvass the area, they blow the ambulance. I love the one shot of the cops just questioning the homeless man, and you just hear, "I heard him."
Yeah.
But this is the music here from Elliot Goldenthal with this like these slow drums as like the cops just like come and like they get hit with the spike strips. This music is what I like associate the 90s with. Like this is such 90s music to me. Like, you know what I mean? I fucking love it. The soundtrack, it's gorgeous.
Apparently, the ending song he wrote for this, Michael Mann didn't like, so they used two Moby songs. And then Elliot Goldenthal repurposed it for it's like a Liam Neeson movie. I can't remember what it's called, but he repurposed it for that. I was like, oh, that's fucking great. Nice. But also that TV guy, that's a real like homeless guy that was around the area, and the shop owners nearby would run an extension cord out of their shops for him, and then at night they would throw a blanket on him and stuff, and he would just watch TV like out in front of their shops and shit. And I was like, wow, that's kind of sweet. Like that's really nice, man.
That's kind of nice.
That's really cool.
And then they forgot about him, and then he died lonely, and then.
Yeah, I wonder if, I mean, because you imagine, dude, being on set for this, he had like a craft service table. They probably cut him a check for, however much. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah. So Neil meets with Nate, played by John Voight. The take was $1.6 million. He gets 40% of the cut, which is $640,000. My question is, how did Angelina Jolie crawl out of that shriveled old ball sack?
Oh, dude, it's kind of a little. One thing, they make him look like Eddie Bunker from Reservoir Dogs, like crazy. Like it's definitely intentional. And he wrote a book called like No Beast Be Tamed, or I'm sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. I know I'm probably saying the wrong title, but that was like a huge influence on.
But Bunker was also a consultant on this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he served a lot of time and shit too. And he was specifically a bank robber, which I was like, I know it's crazy, but it's like just once in my life, if I could like just step into the body of somebody who's like, all right, everybody on the ground, like, holy shit, dude. I would be afraid I would have a heart attack. Like I would honestly be afraid I would like have a stroke or something, just get way too like pumped. It's like a bank, like what's the only other thing that's just like robbing a bank would be like the ultimate like crazy adrenaline. I mean, unless you skydived into the bank, I don't really think it gets any crazier than that. Like,
you know what? I will take probably not robbing a bank, but I think the closest experience you could probably get to that is if they made a VR version and they updated, they remastered it so the graphics are great of the mission 3-leaf clover in Grand Theft Auto 4. Like, I feel like
I
feel like
dude.
that whole thing is.
I love that game.
Like Grand Theft Auto 5 is incredible, and it has this focus on like bank robberies and stuff. I still feel like it never reached the height of that one mission in Grand Theft Auto 4.
Dude, when you're Nico running down those alleys with like Patty McCreary? Patty. Yeah, when he's shooting him and shit, it's like the most emotive Nico. He's like, "Come on, you motherfucker!"
Yeah.
And he's just blasting cops in these alleys, and you're like, "Holy shit, this game just really went up a notch." But actually, that's my favorite protagonist from the whole GTA series is Nico Bellic. I think he's an incredible character.
Hey, Nico, wagwan.
Yeah. Hey, it's your cousin Roman. Do you want to go bowling?
Oh shit. All right, so here we go. So Nate puts Neil up to Van Zandt. So this is where, as a youngster, I was like, I'm fucking
What the
lost.
fuck is going on? Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? But like now, obviously, I'm getting it. I understand it all. Whatever. But like before, dude, I'm just like, what the fuck? What is this? Why did Neil not take the cash? And then obviously we know now it's bearer bonds. It's it's whatever. So yeah, they were his bonds. They were Van Zandt's bonds. Zandt claims the insurance on the bonds. Nate wants to sell the bonds back to Van Zandt for 60% of their value, make 40% on top of the extra one of the 100% is what Van Zandt's getting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an extra $320,000. And this Kelso guy's got a score as well. It's low 8 figures. Neil agrees to meet with him.
Dude, Kelso, for one thing, that is Tom Noonan from Manhunter, but he's also Frankenstein and Monster Squad. And that's my ding reference.
Tom Noonan from Last Action Hero.
Yes, dude, the Ripper. And he's in X-Files. He's in some great. I think he might be in 2 X-Files or 1, but he's great. But as I was watching it, I was like looking at Tom Noonan and then looking in a mirror and then looking at Tom Noonan and being like I have like the same amount of bald stubble that he has, and I have this big beard, and I'm in a gaming chair that might as well be a wheelchair because I never get up from it. And I'm like, oh god. But again, even Tom Noonan, he's in one scene, and he's still a huge presence. I love his performance. But the what does John Voight say? He's like you go through Van Zandt instead of going through the seat. It's extra $370,000 to you. Try it on. Like, just immediately, he's like, yeah, fucking do it, dude. And they're so quick. There's no, like, buddy conversations. Like, what happened out there? Don't ask. Like, love it.
Well, that's right. I mean, like, I love how short and to the point Neil is. Like, after, we're not there yet, but, like, after Tom Noonan, sells him the story or whatever, sells him the bank heist, he goes to Nate and he's like, I bought it.
Right, yeah.
He's just like, I bought it.
Well, I love, well, fine. I'll save it for the Tom Noonan scene. I don't want.
Cool. So Scarface arrives to the scene and claims that they're dealing with pros. Dude, I love that goddamn Buffalo Bill is a fellow detective. Oh, dude,
yeah. That's correct.
Oh, damn it.
Fuck. Well, and also, this is not that long. I mean, when is Silence of the Lambs? 91, 92?
91.
Yeah,
91.
This is only 4 years later. I love the local cop he's like, you guys, robbery or homicide going to take this? He's like, this looks like local gangbangers hitting the local 7-Eleven. Robbery homicide's going to take this one. I just, apparently, and I know this is probably well known to anybody who loves this movie. They wrote Pacino for having a coke addiction, basically, in this movie. Like, his character was supposed to be a little bit more amped. So I wonder, like, if they deleted a scene or something like that. But I would love if he were, like, on meth or something the whole time, kind of like a Nurse Jackie, like Edie Falco kind of thing, or like House. Like, that's one of my favorite things about House, that he was this brilliant doctor who was just in incredible pain doing drugs the whole time, just like a tortured, like the clown who can't make themselves laugh. I love that.
Pagliacci.
Yeah, Pagliacci. Yeah. At the drop of a hat, these guys will rock and roll. Like, God, it's just everybody is so
and
they're so cool, man. Like, everybody, nobody says anything that's like, hey, what up, dude? Like, it's not dated now, you know, but it's just the way
hello,
that
fellow kids.
Yeah, hello, fellow kid. It's very, you know, he's like, run slick, you're gonna get the phone book, but do it anyways, you know, or like the little things, I bought it, you know, or I just love the way they talk. It's such serious like tones, you know.
No, for sure. One thing that I was going to mention, and I don't remember it now because you fucking talk for an eternity. Oh, it was going to be a good point too. Fuck, man. Oh, Jesus. But anyway, look, I'll hopefully think of it. Can you just say what you just said again? Fuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I've talked for too long. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Well, shit. Now I got so caught off guard about what you were saying, I forgot what I was just saying.
Oh man, I fucking hate that I lost it. But you talked for 10 years. God damn it.
Sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I totally forgot. Anyway, but look, does Buffalo Bill do audiobooks? Because man, I love him. I love his voice. I just love Ted Levine's voice. It's just as he breaks this down and he's just like bang, 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 all to the side there. Like he's just fucking. He's gone through this whole thing. Also, Wes Studi. Have you seen The Last Mohicans?
I have not. I have not seen The Last of Mohicans. I know.
Patrick's gonna be mad at you.
Yeah, I know. Everybody from LSU is going to be mad at me, dude.
Last
It's a fucking sin.
Dude. He plays a fucking badass in Last of Mohicans. His name's Chingachuk, I think is his name. But Wes Studi pops up in a lot of shit. But yes, this is the point I was going to make. So when Vincent arrives here at the scene, and he's like, you know, robbery homicide's going to take it. You've never seen The Wire, have you?
No, I have not. Mm-mm.
One of my favorite things about The Wire is that they're always constantly trying to push homicides on a different precinct. like there's a moment in The Wire when they've got a floater, so someone floats down the river and they find the body, whatever. And one of the cops looks up a map and he's like, he does the numbers and he's like, actually, this guy was found here in the next precinct, because they're always trying to push away work. They're always like, we don't want this. If it's unsolved, it's going to ruin our fucking credibility. It's going to ruin our numbers and our statistics. I love that, like, in movies, like, you know, the cops are always like, no, we'll take it.
Right.
And The Wire is always just like, no, we're not going to fucking take it because it's just going to ruin our fucking numbers.
Yeah, we got enough murders. Thank you.
Yeah. You got to watch The Wire, dude. It's so
I know. So bad about it.
So good, dude. But yeah, look, like, I love that immediately Vincent doesn't underestimate Neil's crew, right? I mean, like, you know, like you said, he talks about, you know, like, does this look like gangbangers working in local 7-Eleven? Like, he's immediately, like, he respects them immediately. And I love that, like, there's no underestimating them, even on, like, you know, on Neil's part, there's no underestimating the cops. You know, we'll talk about like this whole, like, both of them are so professional, both of them are so good at their jobs that they're not underestimating each other. And I love that, like, it's like there's no professional, I guess, they don't slide, you know, they don't get sloppy professionally. You know what I mean?
Right. They don't underestimate each other at all.
Right. But yeah, so this is one of the coldest things in the movie. Like when he's talking about killing the other guards, you know, once the first one died, what difference does it make? Right. And he's right, because, like, you know, you've already got the first degree murder charge. If you're Neil or a member of Neil's crew, why open yourself up to potential risk? Why leave a witness?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah.
Right. He's like, there's a getaways on there's like a quarter mile, like freeways on each side. And he was like, we got under
in the
an
background,
overpass.
Dom Toretto's like racing his fucking car or some shit.
Yeah, it's like fucking Memphis Reigns from Gone in 60 Seconds, just like still flying over the bridge.
Memphis Reigns has no place in fucking Heat, okay? In a Heat podcast.
It's such a great
Dominic
movie.
Toretto does.
Yeah. And not to jump too far ahead, but seeing Danny Trejo open a trunk and he's wearing all black and the inside of the trunk is all plastic is like the most ominous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just
Dude,
like there's no
chilling.
it's like, hey, you want to get in my murder rape truck? It's just this big fucking dark it's such a crazy shot too, because like as soon as he hits Waingro, the trunk just opens up and it's like, holy shit, that's like something John Wayne Gacy had in like a van. Like that's crazy, man. And it's Danny Trejo, who looks terrifying, like in all black with his hair slicked. I was like, are you in a remake of The Crow? Like what the fuck, dude? Like you look terrifying right now.
I'm the Crow, ese.
Young Danny Trejo as the Crow, I'd go for it, man.
You killed my wife, Holmes.
Oh, man.
Dude, what about Waingro eating pie like nothing ever happened?
I know. Anybody
man.
want some pie? Ugh.
Great fucking character building. And I love Chris and Michael's faces as they just await Neil, knowing some shit is about to go down. The look on their faces, dude, like the boss is coming.
Dude, this is how good the sound design is for this movie. I was watching this first part with headphones in, and as you're watching it, when they're all sitting there, it's Danny Trejo and the three guys at Waingro, and then you hear a car pull up outside, and that's when Danny Trejo gets up and leaves, and then that's when
he
Tom
goes, I'm going to the bathroom,
right? And that's you can hear it's like an outside car pulling up, and I was like, oh, that's fucking Neil. That's crazy,
awesome. Because I was like, how did they time this?
Right, right.
I watched it twice, and I was like, how did? So the first thing that happens is Trejo goes to the bathroom, then Chirito gets up and sits on the other side.
Yeah.
And then in walks McCauley, and I was like, what the fuck? All right.
Yeah, right. How do they know all this shit? But the sound design of this it's just so, I mean, it's a character in and of itself too. None of these sounds are like faked, and everything is just so, it's all meticulously done like that. It really makes me respect the movie a lot more.
Waingro is trying to justify himself, and Neil just starts wailing on him. I love Michael just staring down the customer that notices, and he's just like, it's basically just saying, mind your own fucking business.
Right.
And if you keep watching, he never looks away from him. Like, he just keeps staring at him.
Oh, Jesus.
Until, they get up.
He's like, eat your waffles, meatloaf.
I love Tom Sizemore, dude. Sizemore's great in this.
Because obviously Sizemore has had a lot of drug problems and stuff, unfortunately. I think in like 2011 or 2013, De Niro, he said De Niro had a very stern interrogation with him about him like using drugs and stuff, and that De Niro like drove him to rehab and checked him in and shit. I was like, wow, that's really cool. I guess they're friends. Michael Mann in the commentary is like, yeah, I'm very good friends with Tom Sizemore. I was like, man, he sounds like the nicest guy in the world, apparently, but except for I think he's had like some battery charges and stuff, probably not the nicest person in the world, but it's like, damn, he's in so many good movies. And the only other person I thought that could pull this character off as well in a different direction, though, would be Michael Madsen. I was like, I would love to see Michael Madsen play Michael Chirito. There's something interesting, that Mr. Blonde kind of energy to Michael Chirito. There's something just about that. For me, the action is the juice. It's like, oh, yes, dude, that's Mr. Blonde.
You can see that happening for sure. So just a minor thing for me. I get that Neil is pissed, but this is a pretty public display of aggression.
Yeah, and it's also, why doesn't he just? I mean, I get it. Maybe it's just in his code of ethics. Like, I'm not going to pay somebody who almost got me killed, or could get me put away. But at the same time, I think the wisest decision would have been just to pay him and cut him from your life and get him out of there. It just, why go? Because of this action, there's so much more death that comes from it. Instead of just kind of putting the guns down, pulling the cash out, and having that be the end of your day. Why go straight to killing him? I don't know. I'm really not sure. Is it some kind of like a professional, like, hey, you fuck up, we kill you type shit? Is it something like that? Who knows? I'm not sure, but
yeah, I get the sense that this crew, there's a thing about I guess reprisals. So like later when they're talking, Chirito is he's like, what about Van Zandt? We're just gonna let him get away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a lot of like, they need to get their comeuppance kind of thing with these guys.
Yeah, there's definitely when Waingro goes to see Van Zant and he was like, what can you tell me about him? He goes, oh, he's real thorough. He's not done with you yet. It's like, oh, that's comforting. Right. They're thorough, no stone left unturned.
So we already talked about Waingro going out to the parking lot, but like what I wanted to kind of point out is I love how well orchestrated it is. It's like the heist. Everyone knows their role. Michael and Chris, the lookouts, and Trejo's just getting the trunk ready. Like everyone just knows what they're doing. Yeah,
and the second that cop busts that Yui, everybody has a hand on a gun. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Neil goes home. We get that iconic, beautiful silhouette shot that makes you instantly think of Michael Mann and Heat. All right,
right.
And obviously, important to point out that his home is incredibly bare.
Yeah,
no furniture, art, whatever. He's ready to go at a moment's notice. Right. I mean, very well developed character for a movie for a movie in a genre that's known to be very sort of shallow.
Right. Yeah, and he's only got like 4 plates in his cupboard. It's crazy.
Right. He lives like fucking Andy Dwyer. Like he's got he eats off like a frisbee or something.
Who's Andy Dwyer?
Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec. That's Chris Pratt's character.
I've never watched it.
God damn it. All right. We check in with Chris and his wife, Charlene, played by Ashley Judd. She's a bit of a ball buster in this, but
yeah, she's a bit of a ball. Yeah, her husband comes home with $8,000 after fucking killing 3 people.
Look, she ain't wrong, man. Like a measly $8,000.
Right, what? And I get there's more on the way, but I think I don't know how they cut up their percentage of the loot, but they just made like $750,000 from that, which Chris should have gotten 100, 200 of that. He's doing a lot of legwork. So it's like I wonder what his cut is of that, and it's like to only come
400.
back.
Was it 400? Because the entire take was 1.6. Neil gets 40% of the cut, which is 640. Oh, 640. Sorry.
Right. So to just kind of let that go is like how much of that is going towards the bookies? You only have $8,000 left. Like, holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. He's probably definitely way in the hole. We also find out he's got a kid, Dominic. Dude, Kilmer is like we already said, he's awesome here. He's so explosive. The jumping over the railing, hurling shit at the wall.
The scar on his face is so like, man, how did that happen?
What's the story behind that?
Right. It's the little things too. Like even Neil, when we see him in bed earlier, he's got the anchor, the Marine Corps tattoo, and it's like, oh shit. And so is Vincent Hannah. He was I think in the Marines as well on this. I can't remember.
I'm glad that you said that because I didn't catch that, and it makes you wonder when we get to the shootout scene. We see how incredibly proficient they are with weapons. And obviously Heat, like there's a whole story of like how they show hate to new Marines being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
But like you kind of like wonder whether, Chris and Neil are ex-military because they're so proficient at weapons handling. But yeah. So we find out that the explosive was too common to trace a sale. You can pick it up with a license. Fucking Americans, man. Jesus. Justine tells Vincent that Lauren's dad stood her up, and we get a sense that Vincent actually really cares about Lauren, right? Like he's genuinely kind of heartbroken, like that Lauren was stood up. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it makes the divorce or the downcline of their marriage even more heartbreaking. Because there's even more at stake there. It'd be different if she was just a bitch and they hated each other. It's like that'd be something different. But there's actually something on the line there. If this thing falls apart.
I got 3 dead bodies on the sidewalk of Venice Boulevard. Justine, he's talking about I think.
Sorry if the goddamn chicken. That's such a good line.
I love how he hesitates. Sorry if the goddamn chicken was overcooked.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, he's having a hard time with the case, with his job. We know, obviously in hindsight, when he reveals that the demons from the job haunt him pretty much every night.
Right.
Constantly.
That's got to be rough, man.
Neil's in the library reading about mechanical engineering, stress fractures in titanium, and then we're meeting Edie. He's so cold initially, suspicious, right? Yeah. He says, "Lady, why are you so interested in what I do?" Right? And of course, he softens up, introduces himself, and they have a conversation about her job, where she went to school, yada yada yada. He goes back to her place. They bond some more, get to know each other. We find out that Neil's got no familial connections. Right? He says he's got a brother somewhere. Very, very important piece of information, I think. He talks about Fiji. Dude!
Yeah,
that's no awesome. One talks about Fiji in movies.
Truman Show, that's about the only other one I can think of.
Yeah. I was like, okay, all right. And then he changes it to New Zealand, motherfucker, but okay, it's fine.
God, Amy Brenneman. Whew, good Lord.
You think so?
Oh, Pound Town, my friend. She's in Fear, that Mark Wahlberg, Reese Witherspoon movie.
She's in The Leftovers. She's really good in that.
Yeah. What was that? Judging Amy, I think that show she did for a long time. She's in Frasier for a bunch of episodes, which I love. I love Frasier, but I've just always liked her. I always liked her performances and stuff, you know. But I don't know, this movie, she just feels so out of place in it because I like their relationship. I get it. Feel like it's almost the same thing with Natalie Portman's character. It almost feels kind of like rushed. Like they bang a couple of times and they don't even go on a fucking date and they're already like in love, you know, and they're like ready to move half the world. And she's like ready to accept the fact he's a bank robber. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of would like to see this relationship developed a little bit more. But at the same time, this movie's already 3 hours long, you know?
See, yes and no. I'm gonna try and see if I can make a counterpoint to that. Neil really wants this relationship to work. I think. Mm-hmm. I think Neil really wants this companionship. Like he says here, "I'm alone. I am not lonely." I think that's denial talking. To be honest,
for sure.
I think, like this relationship is, it feels rushed because that's not really what. That's not the relationship that we should be focusing on. I'm not saying that, there's like some kind of like gay romantic relationship happening with Vincent and Neil, but like that's definitely the relationship that matters the most in this movie. Mm. But I think Neil's relationship with Edie is him desperately wanting to try to feel some sort of human connection, and ultimately that fails. Like ultimately, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of sort of like trying to read between the lines here. Like, like ultimately he wants to go to New Zealand with her. He ultimately wants to like move away with her. And I don't think he feels as strongly at the end of the day as he wants to for Edie.
Right. Like he's kind of leading himself on, like,
Yeah.
I see.
Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, like he is lonely. He's a lonely guy. Like, like later we get that scene of, them around the dinner table with Torito with his wife and Trejo with his wife.
He's the only person there alone.
Right. Yeah. And then he goes off and he calls Edie and like, it feels like a quick release or a quick solution to loneliness. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if it's lasting or, there's no sense of understanding. You know what I mean? Like Edie doesn't obviously understand him because she's so removed from that world. She's so like, she might as well be from a different planet. Like as you said, she's the only sane person in this movie. Yeah, but like, I don't know.
I think she even says that to some degree where, he talks about her coming with him to, New Zealand or wherever. And, she's like, you don't even know me. He's like, I know enough, and it's like, do you though? Do you? Like, I don't know. Personally, I think they get to Fiji and it lasts for a couple months and then they fucking hate each other, Right. Like, and he fucking shoots her in the back of the head or something. Like, I can't let you tell people who I am or, where I am and shit.
Now, Vincent it
feels a little rushed.
In Fiji.
Yeah. Whew, smash. Hooah, hooah.
De Niro's doing the nod with the...
Yeah. Because he's got a fat cock. That's my only complaint. I just feel like it's a little rushed. And it's, I feel like we're supposed to really feel something when Neil walks out on her at the end. And I just don't feel the thing I think it wants me to feel. Like, I feel like there should be more of a great loss there. And I don't. I feel like it's just kind of more of a, hey, another life, kid. Sorry. That's really all it kind of feels like.
I agree with that point. Yeah. I think at that moment you're really meant to feel something and you don't, because this relationship doesn't mean that much to Neil. So why should we kind of care? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The relationship between Pacino and Portman is more on that level to me, like when he picks her up on the side of the street and she's like, I just wanted to be alone, but he's just, I like the fact that even without her having to call Vincent, he's already there. I love that. And he really cares about her.
Yeah. We are kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but like, I do like, I do like that moment of, when he leaves Edie. It's kind of like, it's a shame because this is what could have been. You could still be alive at the end of this if you'd chosen something else. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that tragedy.
Yeah. So look, they get down to it, right? And this is a few years after Cape Fear, so De Niro's rocking that beefcake rig.
Yeah,
under that suit, dude. He's just.
I was thinking there's a part when he's trying to kiss her later and she's just pulling away from him. It's like that must have been the hardest acting of the whole movie, wanting to from this fucking steel fox over here. Like, come on, man.
I'm not kidding, man, when I'm saying I have a fucking man crush on him in this movie.
He's like fucking 4% body fat or something in Cape Fear.
The goatee and everything, man. Oh, It's awesome. So Vincent's questioning the fence. Albert, what a shithole this place is.
Oh, jeez. It's like a dogfighting ring.
We didn't talk about McKelty Williamson. Bubba Gump.
That's Bubba Gump is the
Bubba
detective?
Gump.
Oh, what is this? Damn it. Drucker?
Sergeant,
I love
Drucker.
Yeah. I love Drucker, dude, especially with Hank Azaria. That's some great chemistry between the two of them. And the whole time, he only had, I did not know that. The mustache, man, that mustache that was like a Clark Kent, like glasses thing. That fucking totally blinded me there. Well, that and he's not jutting his fucking bottom lip out either,
Also from Con Air as well.
I've never seen that. I never watched Con Air. I know I need to. But I think this guy plays Albert perfectly. Just this slimy, like parasite of like a criminal. I love that. He's like, cause he in Phoenix, and it's like I'm out here like a flamingo, man. I'm cutting moves for you and shit. And it's like, he's saying what he thinks they want him to, what they want to hear from him. But he just sounds like a fucking fool. He sounds like an idiot.
I love him. I love Albert trying to get a word in while fucking Vincent's over here doing whatever the fuck he's doing, dude. I think that's one of my favorite, one of my most cringe moments in this movie was when McKelty Williamson says, "Let's violate his ass right now." This is LAPD 4 years after Rodney King.
Well, yeah. Do they mean violate? Like, I think they mean his parole, right?
It's what you meant to think.
Do what? Sorry, you're cutting out.
Oh, no, I'm just like, that's what you meant to think, but I don't know.
No.
Just try. It's LAPD, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could go either way. No, but I think that there's something interesting about Pacino because Pacino kind of like pulls. There's something where he goes just a little bit too far and then he pulls it back, and I think that losing the whole cocaine thing kind of like, I don't know, if they had kept it in, it would explain a lot of these like outbursts and shit. It would make it seem a little dude, I love, give me all you got. And then 2 seconds later, he's like, and he just like, he's back to normal and shit. Empathy's yesterday. Dude, today you wasted my motherfucking time.
He's like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. He's like, what the fuck you talking about? Spit that shit out, man. And he's like, all that smile and shit, dude.
Yeah, I think in terms of like Pacino roles, I think this is probably my favorite. Maybe Devil's Advocate might be my personal favorite above that, but God, he's killer in this. He's got a lot of subtle moments and big moments as well. Have
you seen Dog Day Afternoon? Oh, that might be my favorite.
No, I want to though. I love Chris Sarandon, and I know he's in that.
Good. Don't waste my motherfucking time.
Love it.
So Neil meets with this Kelso guy to get the lowdown on the bank heist. I love Neil's questions, right? He just seems so precise. On the prowl or strong? How many guys? You want a 10% cut? Like, again, like I don't know how much of this came from Eddie Bunker, because he was a consultant, but whatever. It feels very, very authentic,
Oh, what's the cut? I love, what's the cut? Estimated $12.1 to $12.2 million. And he's like,
the pause.
Okay. I love that's my favorite part of this exchange. He shakes his hand. He's like, congratulations. And it's like, oh, dude, I love that. It's so formal.
Congratulations stuck out to me. Congratulations stuck out to me because it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like there is an assumption that this is going to be done by the end of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's an assumption of this is going to be successful. There's an assumption of like, you're going to be able to get this money, Right.
Yeah. It's almost like it's like, congratulations on this success that you're already going to have, because I know you're going to be able to pull it off, because these are pros. The reason why they're pros and they're all like 40 and 50 years old because they don't miss, right. Like they don't swing and miss.
So Nate's on the phone running the play on Van Zandt, played by, as you said, William Fichtner. Who's in absolutely every movie ever made, but I love him and everything. So
yeah,
he's
very
good.
Much so. Yeah.
And Henry Rollins is the bodyguard, right? Black Flag. Dude, Henry Rollins' neck in this movie is the same size as his head.
Jesus, dude, it's his neck is like the size of Channing Tatum's thigh. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like, his fucking neck is so thick. And like, if you go back and watch old videos of Black Flag before, like, he's crazy, man. Like, he's pointing to people in the audience. He's like, "I'll fuck you up, motherfucker!" And it's like when Wes Studi and Al Pacino like knock his door down at the end and go after him. I was like, dude, he would beat the shit out of both of these guys. Like, and I kind of wish he did. I kind of wish it was like a fight with you, Benny, because you think he's gonna be like, oh, is this like the muscle? Is this guy gonna fuck some shit up? But he just kind of gets thrown through glass and that's it. Like a 49-year-old man handles him pretty easily. And
dude,
that's weird.
Rollins, he's like you said, crazy. He's been on Rogan. That's how I know his kind of like backstory, but.
Yeah, I remember him in Jackass tattooing Sivo in the Hummer as it's like hitting all the potholes and shit. Oh, that's great.
So Van Zandt agrees to Nate, but tells Rollins that he's not okay with his stuff being stolen. He says, "I'm going to kill the sons of bitches." Nate gets Neil to collect small dick energy. He's always sweating. He looks so young in this as well. Fichtner does. Like he's got this baby face in this movie.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Nate gets Neil to collect the money, tells him Van Zandt's a businessman, right? So this is I love this because it's not Neil underestimating Van Zandt. Like, he's being told by Nate,
right?
Like, he's a businessman. You'll get to, like, it'll be fine. Everything's gonna work out. Blah blah. Mm-hmm. So I like that we don't lose the professionalism of Neil. Like, right, or anything like that. He's
more of a victim of a bad setup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Neil finds Chris at his place, sleeping on his floor. He's afraid Charlene's going to leave him. Vegas and Super Bowl cleaned him out. Dude, I laugh when like he's like, nothing regular, to the question of something else on the side. He's like, nothing regular.
Oh yeah, nothing regular.
This is also the first time this watch that I noticed that Val Kilmer's got this growth on his elbow. Did you notice this?
I did not. A growth?
As he's sitting, watch the scene. It's huge. It's like this bulbous thing on his elbow. And I looked it up. And it's this thing that he got from The Doors. So he made The Doors in 1991.
Oh my God, I just saw it.
It's huge. When he jumped off stage in The Doors, a stuntman was supposed to catch him, but they didn't. So he landed and broke his elbow. Oh. And apparently that was that growth was just something that stayed as a result of that. Wild. It's huge. I can't unsee it now.
Fucking remove that shit, dude. You're making millions, Iceman. Get rid of that shit.
I know. I can't. I mean, like, unfortunately, have you seen him now? It's sad.
Yeah.
So this is where Neil lays down some philosophy he learned from prison, right? Remember Ginny McCauley on the yard used to say, "You want to be making moves on the street, have no attachments. Allow nothing to be in your life that you cannot walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you spot the heat around the corner." Love it. This incredibly cold
so good
philosophy, that Neil lives his life by in order for him to operate effectively is just something that Chris can't do, right? He says, "For me, the sun rises and sets with it." I love it.
He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." That's it. It's like, all right, in a conversation, man.
For sure. And Neil tells Chris about the bank job. And then we meet the tragic character of Don Braden. Braden?
Ugh.
Not Brendan, right? I got Brendan here. It's Braden. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Don Braden, played by Dennis Haysbert. He just got out of prison. He's starting this new job as a fry cook. Like I said, man, this whole kind of like B plot is actually, I used to think that it was so unnecessary. I was like, what the fuck? This guy just dies. Why do we spend so much time on him? But it's actually incredibly sad and tragic. Like, I love its inclusion now because it's just, like I said, a perfect like microcosm of the failures of the justice system, how ex-convicts are treated once they're out and about in society, and then they have no other choice but to like reoffend and become recidivists. Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. It shows how easy it is to fall back into that like lifestyle. It's incredibly. It's like drugs. It's like so incredibly easy to relapse.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, like we don't spend too much time on him, but I think it's incredibly effective.
We spend just enough. Yeah, enough. And then we spend time with him while we're also wrapping up our other main plot. The things get woven together, and it's like, and him getting 20% of his pay taken by this fucking guy.
25% of your take home kicks back to me. Rules of the game.
Now, I think I can speak for just about everybody. This Dennis Haysbert's boss. This guy is a pedophile. Like, there's no doubt about it. This is a guy that you would turn on the channel and say, like, "Hey, hi, my name's Chris Hansen. Why don't you go ahead and have a seat?" And just you would see him come in, and he would have his little apron on, and he would have like wine coolers and like I don't know, maybe like Seinfeld on DVD. Or no, it'd be Friends. He'd watch Friends. That's what he would watch. Oh. And they again. Such good casting. They get like the most, like, the Peter Pettigrew in Harry Potter. He gets turned into like the rat and shit. Like he's like that guy. Is it Peter Pettigrew? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Peter Pettigrew. So
there we go. It's been a while.
When this guy's watching Friends, he does the clap.
Dude, yeah. And is alone in his apartment eating cold beans out of a can. He's like Christopher Lloyd and Dennis the Menace,
So I'm watching this movie, dude, and Dennis Haysbert works on the screen, and Steph's just like, he's fucking hot, and I'm just like, yes.
He's a beautiful man. He's like, for one thing, when he gets out of that car, like the car door is at like his knees. Like, he's fucking huge. That guy is so incredibly tall, but like, I was watching, I was like, man, he would look great on the set of like Predator. Like, he would be great as like Carl Weathers' character, or even like Jesse Ventura or something. Like, he looks like he would fit into that set so well, and that's a lot of beefy men.
So, the first time I saw Dennis Haysbert was actually in the Sin City sequel. He plays, Michael Clark Duncan passed away between the making of the first one and the second one. That's right. And he plays the replacement. But yeah. So Neil gets instruction from Rollins on behalf of Van Zandt, says, "I got a package for you." And this is happening while Neil is following Charlene, who's seeing Apu from The Simpsons.
Yeah. Mo Sislak.
Hank Azaria. Chief Wiggum as well, I believe. So Hank Azaria, the first thing I saw him was fucking Godzilla. the 1991 one.
That was probably mine. I can't see him and not think of the Birdcage. He's great in the Birdcage. He's like I
took your advice and I watched that movie last week.
Yeah, how'd you like it?
Loved it.
Dude, and so Nathan Lane is that movie though. Like like he is a mood and energy, like that whole fucking movie, man. Like, I love Nathan Lane. He's so incredibly fucking funny.
I won't talk about this for much longer, but one of my favorite kind of like subgenres in like anything in like movies or TV shows is like a farce. So like when someone is like trying to keep up like a facade or something, and like there's always things going wrong. Like that's why I love Faulty Towers with John Cleese. Like I love
Frasier does that a lot too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got to get on that event. If Frasier does that, I got to get on that. But yeah, so immediately Neil goes to question her. Who is he? Who is he? Right? Neil says that she can give Chris. She has to give Chris one last chance. If it doesn't work, Neil will finance her himself. Clean up, go home. Clean up, go home. Right? The classic De Niro repetition technique. He says everything twice.
Yeah,
I love it. He does it. He does it in Goodfellas a lot. Vincent goes to see Albert's father, Richard, at this club. Sorry, Albert's brother, Richard, played by Tone Loc. Sorry, Tone Loc, of all people.
I know. I was like, blank check fame.
I was like, is that ludicrous? But no. He would have been like 5 years old.
His voice is so incredibly distinctive. Tone Loc.
Dude.
Tone Loc has that crazy... Dude, it's so deep and like rounded. Like it's so incredibly unique. I love Tone Loc's voice. I
love like Richard's like trying to angle Vincent immediately into getting rid of his competition, dude.
Dude.
But it's so on point because you don't get information for free, right? I mean, so
right, dude. Al Pacino's gum is a character in the scene. Like it's and tell me about him. It's like it's unbelievably like he's like wet on the
shiny.
lip. Yeah. He looks like he's been like slobbering a little bit. But I like the fact that he's not afraid. He's like, he puts his arm around him. He's like, it's because I ain't your cuz, you rat motherfucker. It's like you tell even to him, they're rats. He even calls Henry Rollins that later. Who tipped you off, you rat motherfucker? And it's like he's ratting to you, and you're still calling him a rat. But it just shows you, like, even on both sides,
level
like
of respect.
Fuck rats. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Vincent disregards the information until Richard mentions that he calls people slick, right? His name's Michael Churito.
I'm sorry. You saw an ex-con walking down the street. Mm-hmm. Well, I am over-fucking whelmed. That is like, that might be my favorite line of the movie. Like non-serious line. That is so fucking great, man. I die.
I love Albert just being like...
He's like, yeah. And it's, dude, imagine being called out of your house at 2 a.m. for this. Like, right. Jesus, dude.
So Vincent wants full surveillance on Churito. He says he wants jackets on whoever Churito associates with. So this is when I was like, all right, I'm going to look up how tall Tom Sizemore is here because he always looks short. Because Richard describes him as this like big 6 foot motherfucker with like, tattoos and shit. And I'm like, Tom Sizemore, 6 foot? No.
He's got maybe some broad shoulders.
5'11". Yeah. He's like 5'11".
I just looked up Dennis Haysbert because I was like, dude, that guy's fucking huge. He and I are almost the exact same height. He's like he's like maybe a quarter inch taller than me. And I was like, is that really how fucking tall I am? Like sometimes I'll see pictures of myself or like I'll lay in bed at night and be like, my ankles hang off the end of a queen size bed. And I'm like, oh shit. I didn't really think about it that way. Like this is a sad fact. It's a really quick, like tall, sad fact. When I was a kid, I grew so big that I ended up tucking my knees a lot when I slept. And now I can't because my feet would like hang off and shit, or they would hit like the baseboard at the end. Like I would hit my feet in the middle of the night. And now I can't sleep without turning on my side and like pulling my knees up a little bit. Like I don't stretch out in bed because I'm just not used to it. And like, I've got to start doing it and shit. Cause I'm like, man, I got a queen size bed. Fuck this, dude.
Jesus. Well, nobody cares, Colin. But anyway, so,
no. Nobody knows. I'm just kidding.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Okay, so by the way, Haysbert is carrying a hog. Right?
Oh, dude, it's like a fucking tree. It's like a tree stump in there. Like,
yeah, it's like a third leg. And then this is the drive-in theater shootout, right? Dude, one of my favorite shots in the entire movie is this overhead wide-angle shot. Just you see.
Yes, I just saw it. That truck moving at the top left corner. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Great.
But how careful is Neil, right? Like, not only is he suspicious of the driver, tells him to get his hands up, but he's got like Chris posted up from an elevated position with a rifle. Like, they're communicating with the earpieces. Like, there's like no level of complacency with these guys. Like, we don't trust anybody. But the dude in the ute thinks he's about to get away until he steps out and Trudeau steps out and just starts blasting away with him. At him with the shotgun.
Oh God, I love that. And like running the guy over, one thing, like they smash him up against the car, then they run him over, and as like Neil is driving at him, Val Kilmer pops a shot and that hits him, and then Neil shoots him from another and it spins him around the other end. I'm like, oh man, that is really good. And
I'll never forget
Kilmer's
seeing
got
Kilmer
it, man.
like rolling with the rifle, dude. Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, Jesus, dude. What is that, a Galil? I'm like, it looks like a Galil.
Yeah. Dude, everything I recognize from like Modern Warfare.
Yeah. Like, what is that, a Tech 9 or a PPSH Uzi he's got there?
What are we working with here? Of course, this is Vincent botching the hit, right? I love the phone call after. Tell you what, forget the money. What am I doing? I'm talking to an empty telephone because there's a dead man on the other line.
Oh, dude. And just watching Fichtner like shit his pants. It's so good.
Dude, you can hear Van Zandt's balls drop. Like the length of time that Mann holds on this shot of like
him just staring at Henry Rollins. Like,
oh man. There's this scene where the guys and the wives go out to dinner. Like I said, even Trejo's got a bird and Neil's alone. He sees this, gives Edie a call, wanting to see her. He's developing an affection for her, right? Or what he thinks is an affection. It's just, I think he just wants like to be with somebody.
Yeah. Well, I also love the way the dialogue is shaped in this scene. It's like everything's just kind of, it's almost like this, like it's like chatter, and then every once in a while you hear like, oh, just don't ask him where he got it, and there's like little lines that you can hear, but it gives me the feeling of Neil feeling lost in this like crowd, like he's just a voice that kind of fades into the background. It's like, oh man, that's sad.
It's interesting because, like, now that I think about it, it's Edie who chats him up at the diner. Like, he's not.
Yeah.
She might be one of the first. Like I don't know. When was the last time that a woman, hit on Neil? Like, he didn't know what it looked like either. You know what I mean? Like, he got very defensive. He thought that she was digging for information. He doesn't know what being hit on looks like. So, like, it's interesting. Like, the first woman in a very long time that hits on Neil is the one that he gets attached to. And that is a recipe for shallowness, I think.
Yeah. Well, also his first reaction being that of paranoia just shows like how much this world has like started shaping his head and shit. Because why else would a stranger be talking to him unless it was something about the way he lives?
They step out and we see that they're being watched by Vincent and his crew. They're able to ID everyone except Neil, the loner. When these guys walk out the door of whatever score they're going to take next, they're going to have the surprise of a lifetime, says Vincent.
Yeah, I like that all these cops are up here. It's like, can nobody be, who's at the office? Like there's like 7 murders going on right now that they're all just like, yeah, we all decided to come here though and watch this.
That's interesting because I thought about that during the shootout scene. I was like, why are they the ones responding?
Well, I get that they're major crimes unit, and there's black and whites, I guess, when the bank robbery happens, but they show up with like fully automatic weapons and shit, versus like the cops just have like 9mm and stuff. But and I guess also, because they're major crimes,
they've got like SWAT or like some kind of like special operations unit at their disposal. Because like when we get to the scene here at the depository, there's that like the van, right? We see the van, so like. I don't know. I feel like there would have been SWAT at the. I don't know. We'll get to it, but like,
yeah.
I was just like, hey, I got a question for you. Has anyone ever asked you or said to you, the Grim Reaper's visiting with you?
Oh Jesus! Well, you don't have a truth-telling style. Like he's. I mean, for one thing. Kevin Gage's performance is great. You know, when he kind of like
chilling.
He's just, oh man, talk about Manson lamps. But the fucking swastika on his stomach and shit. It's like, whoa. Yeah. And like, dude, you just balled a black underage teenager.
I know. And look,
where's your standards, you fucking hypocrite?
Who says chivalry ain't dead?
Right, yeah. And I'm kind of just like, you know, what cracks me up is it's either one of two things. Either you're a hypocrite or you're just like too lazy to get the tattoo removed, you know. That's got to be like a prison thing, you know. Maybe he's like, hey, I just get this, you know. It's like when I go and visit other countries and stuff, you know. It's like something he has to have, like a passport.
Yeah, you know your shit's wild when your John for the night says the Grim Reaper's visiting with you. But also, like, what we find out later is that this is not the first time that Wainwright's done this.
No, he's like, a serial killer.
A serial killer, yeah. It's fucking insane. Wainwright's at the bar looking for work, and he's referred to someone, right? So this is the first kind of like, you know, we don't get a full answer of this, like, but like, we're assuming that he's given Neil's number or like
yes,
Neil's,
I think he's fishing. I think he's fishing for whatever score they're setting up next.
Yes,
and I think that he's given. Yeah,
he's been told that Neil's about to knock off Van Zandt or something, and then like
right,
yeah,
because he's got the metals place and the bank coming up, and it's like, dude, well, I mean, he's describing jobs that are, you know, exactly what Neil is kind of going for. And the things that he says, I was in the shoe, the shoe is the secure holding unit. Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, the shit that he's saying is like, those are some hard ass fucking places.
Yeah. Have you ever been inside a jail? Inside a prison?
I have not, no. Have you?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously not as an inmate.
Have a weekend trip somewhere as I have?
No. Not as an inmate. One of my units that we did for undergraduate was called Issues in the Criminal Justice System. So one of the assignments was basically us going out to visit a prison, like do like a tour of a prison. And you know, we saw like where they did like the sign-ins, we saw the housing units, the sort of like general population area. We saw like they call them pods. So like the way this prison is made up is there's like 4 pods. Like there's one pod dedicated solely to pedophiles because obviously like they get targeted quite a bit by inmates. Yeah. So yeah, I will never forget that experience, dude. Like they brought us into those pods. And we were like 10 meters away from pedophiles, like convicted pedophiles. And I was just like, this is insane. Ugh. This is a lot. We saw the cells, how small the cells were and how impersonal and cold they looked. Like, it's crazy. Ugh.
Yeah, very blank.
Yeah. Vincent gets paged while out for drinks with his partners and his wife. This is, of course, the teen escort who, no thanks to Waingro, had her head beaten in. And Pacino's great here with the mother. Right? Like, this is heartbreaking. You know, you get Golden Balls music with the strings. Yeah.
Well, that, you know, whereas we saw with like this bank robbery and stuff, these guards that got killed, he's very like quick and, you know, but when it comes to this, he's got to, you know, he's like, okay, show me. And then as soon as she shows, he's like, nice, you know, and it's like, you can tell this is a lot more daunting. This is a lot more taxing on him, you know, as a human being. And I think there's something so human about it, especially him having these nightmares about these people looking at him, you know, with these like huge, like fucking blacked out eyes and shit and just being complete failures. Not only is he seeing that in death and in his dreams, now he's having to see this like in person, face to face with this mom. You know, it's like a living nightmare. I just think that's so poignant. Like that's I think he portrays that so well. He's somehow almost in as much shock as she is. You know, he's just like, oh my God, like this is my worst nightmare come to life, you know, having to look into the face of someone I failed.
No, definitely. And, you know, as much as we talked about Vincent and Neil being so similar to each other and how, like, you know, they understand each other, this is the one difference that they share. So Vincent has all of these attachments. He's got family, he's got things to lose. And, you know, he has a young stepdaughter, you know, like someone who is not much younger than this young girl who died at the hands of Waingro. So
Right,
you know,
right.
he's being very he's getting very emotionally attached, and you know he's still able to operate effectively, but like Neil is someone who's very cold and calculating, and you know
Mhm.
like because he doesn't have all these attachments and things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to like draw that like difference between that as well. The
Yeah,
difference between
definitely
them.
highlight that.
Hmm. So he goes back to Justine, and we get a sense of their relationship and the agreements they made when they got together, right? Like she says,
you, baby.
"Yeah, baby." I love how he drags out the baby, baby.
Yeah.
But
What do
yeah,
you think
like
of
you know,
her?
Vincent's. Yeah,
What do you think of her little monologue?
I like it. I like it because, well, okay, it feels like a relatively new relationship. Like they're still kind of like figuring out what they're sharing and what they're not sharing, and where their
Right,
boundaries
yeah.
are, and where their lines are, and where their breakpoints are. So it feels relatively new. Like I wonder how long Vincent and her were together before they got married. Um, because like
Right. It feels
it
like they've
feels
been
like
together for like 2 or 3 years.
yeah, which is incredibly short. Like, you know, like they're still, you know, like she's like, you know, like we share things, and he's like, dude, I'm not gonna fucking tell you when someone fries their baby in a microwave.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
but like she's under the assumption that maybe he should, right? And he's like, no, I gotta hold on to my angst. I preserve it because it keeps me sharp on the edge where I gotta be. And I love the idea of
Oh,
that. I
so
love the
good.
idea of taking this guilt and you know what's at stake, and you know keeping that, using that to make you effective, like you know what I mean, like
Harnessing it as
Neil.
a weapon, yeah.
Yeah, Neil is on the other end where you know like everything, like if I have no attachment that keeps me sharp, whereas he's like no, all of the attachments I have keep me sharp. So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I don't necessarily love her monologue. I think she does it's a little dramatic for watching just two people have a conversation. Like, I feel like if this were like a soliloquy, like if this were just like a private moment in like a play where she spoke this to herself, then I would love that. But it's just for this to be in a, like, this movie's so grounded in reality that a moment like that really kind of throws me out. But I think that she does the best that she can with it, and that she does a fine job with the dialogue. But it's just a little much for me.
That's fair enough. More of Neil and Edie getting to know each other, right? She's not good at meeting people. She's an introvert. And this is where we start to see the cracks of Neil start to show a little, right? Like he asks Edie to take off with him to New Zealand. But again, like it also feeds into what I guess is the one thing he doesn't have that the other guys do, companionship. And in this scene, he seems incredibly sad, right? Like that there's something is missing, and Edie's the thing that he thinks will make him whole. I like, you know, I think that's the tragic part of this character, is like he thinks that Edie's maybe going to make him whole, and I like, you know, we can only speculate. We can only speculate what happens like when they get to New Zealand, and like, you know, whether that's going to be what
Right.
he needs, but I doubt it. Like personally, I doubt it.
Yeah, I do too. I don't see this random, you know, woman that you've met in the last couple of weeks being the thing that just comes and totally turns your life, you know, around. You know, because now she's kind of an accessory after the fact. Like, you know, maybe she's not an accomplice, but she knows who you are and what you've done, and now you've made her an accessory to that. Like you forever altered this person's life. You know, even as like if she's still in that car when Vincent Hannah comes back at the end, like she's going to jail. You know, like you're fucking going to jail. Which is another like aspect I think that's just kind of like, you know, like washed over. But the I think it's they go to which apparently Michael Mann's writing a book, Heat 2. You can pre-order it already.
It's like Googled that. I literally just Googled
nice.
it.
It's like
talk about it.
It's like a prequel and a sequel, I think.
Yeah, so I'm just looking it up now. So Michael Mann's Heat 2 novel to serve as prequel and sequel to crime masterpiece. He says, when I was writing the film, it was imperative for me to create the complete life stories about all the characters and to know everything about them. It's been my intention for a long time to do further stories of Heat. There was always a rich history or backstory about the events in these people's lives before 1995 in Heat and projection of where their lives would take them after. So, look, man, I don't know how I feel about the aftermath being told, but I like the prequel element. Like, I like the beforehand. I don't know. I don't know if I want the answer of, like Edie, like what happens to Edie afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I necessarily, am like begging for answers for, but I guess I'm curious, like if it were somebody else writing it, if it were something different, but it's also the fact that like now I'm like, this thing's been, it's not like it was a book first and then became like, now it's a sequel to a book. Now we see De Niro and Val Kilmer and Natalie Portman, and we see all these characters very clearly in our head. So I don't know. I think that'll definitely be a plus for it. I wonder, it's going to be a sequel and a prequel. I do think that's interesting. I wouldn't mind if somebody made like if they made short films that were like Neil McCauley as like a 27-year-old knocking over like banks and shit. Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that, like the Many Saints of Newark, but for Neil McCauley.
Who plays a young Neil McCauley, do you reckon?
Oh, who would play a good young Neil McCauley? Who would look like De Niro and Taxi Driver. I don't know. Adam Driver?
I was just about to say Adam Driver, only because like I'm very high on him at the moment. I love him. So
yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody who's just got those dark eyes and dark hair, like that kind of look. Somebody who can pull that off really well.
Driver's got a big nose though. See, De Niro's nose isn't that big, but whatever. You know what? Who gives a fuck? I'll still buy it. I'll buy a fucking ticket right now if Adam Driver plays a young Neil McCauley. But anyway, so look, Vincent picks up Lauren. Right, she felt like being alone. She says, already planting the seeds of what's to come, which is. Mm-hmm. Which is tough, which is sad.
Yeah. Sucks. I mean, it's don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be alone. I like to be alone a lot, but for a kid to be saying that, and avoiding stuff, it's just kind of like, what's going on here, man?
Right. And then we get the metals depository sequence. Boy, oh boy, what a masterclass in tension filmmaking this is. I love the way this kind of like, you get this helicopter shot following the van into the scene. Vincent notes that the cruise technique, like what the new cruise technique is, like the cops are all set up. I love the shot of the SUV in the dark with the SWAT ready to go. It's gorgeous. Cops are using what was probably then state of the art thermal and infrared technology. And Neil disappearing into the darkness and his face on the monitors is a shot I'll never forget. Like just he's seeing his face and what that looks like with the thermal imaging. Love it.
Yeah, apparently, because Neil McCauley was like, obviously a real person, and his name was straight up Neil McCauley. And part of the story is based on a relationship Michael Mann had with a cop named Chuck Adamson. As the story goes, Neil McCauley, at some point would invest $30,000 or $40,000 into a heist, and if shit went weird, he would just be like, nope, and just walk away, no matter what had gone into setting it up. And apparently, and this, the time that it happened with this, it was an apartment store, and they had gone into like the basement at night after it closed. And he was like, they came into the basement and we're all like, what the fuck are they doing? They're just staying in the basement. And they're like, they sat there for 10 minutes and just listened to everything that was going on in the department store. And the Chuck Adamson is like, I don't know what possessed. I had two detectives in there, and the detective I told like, hey, you guys can't move. If you got to piss, you piss your pants or you bring a cup. And he was like, and that cop got up and went to the washroom, and Neil McCauley heard him and he left, and that was it. And we lost him. And I was like, oh my God, that's fucking cool, man.
That's fucking awesome, man. Because like, look, just like as we see in this scene, just one sound out of place and Neil calls the abort order, right? Like how professional, how precise. Like, this is, and like, I love the shot of like both of them just looking down the barrel of the camera. Like they're both. It looks like they're both looking right at each other. You know, like this is them both realizing that we're fucked. You know, it's so good. But also, why are you sitting down? Like, what kind of tactical readiness is happening here? Like, you know, you're going to be out of position if someone starts shooting at you. Like, why are you sitting down, dude? I don't understand.
Well, yeah, like the looks that they're shooting that guy once everything is done, and like you know, after everybody leaves and everybody's kind of standing there, and the cops come out, and those like vans pull up with like the SWAT people on them and shit. And, you know, they cut to that cop, and he's just kind of like,
yeah,
it's like, oh Jesus,
dude. Ted Levine's just like he's hurt,
right, and
then it's like, oh shit. You don't want Ted Levine to hate you, bro.
Just put him in the truck with me. I'll take him home.
One of my favorite moments in this whole podcasting game is us covering the first Fast and Furious, and like, because Ted Levine's in that, and like he's got like this like headquarters, and you're just like the pizza boy, and he's just like, yeah, I got a sausage and. just doing the pizza order, dude. Oh, it's so good.
I love him in Joyride as Rusty Nail.
Oh yes, perfect casting.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent also calls the abort order. I have tactical command that supersedes your rank. They will walk away, and you will let them. Man, like I think De Niro is so good in this movie, but Al Pacino is equally as good as De Niro, man. Like he's just such a commanding presence, you know. Love him.
And he also has these really bombastic moments where Neil is constantly cool, calm, and collected. You'd never see Neil have an outburst like that. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, opposites but similar, right? Neil questions where the heat came from. Assume they got everything. Assume they got our houses, whatever. But you know what I love, dude? And it's a little bit of a flaw. They assume they're here listening to us right now, but they continue to talk about the bank job and Van Zandt.
Right? Yeah.
What?
Assume they got us. Assume they got us here right now. Everything. Assume it all. It's like, well, then bye. Like,
well, you see ya. Like, I mean, like, you're going to, like, Chirito talks immediately about he wants a 750 from Van Zandt. Like, you're dropping names, you're dropping the bank details, like what?
Yeah, you're dropping, like, money numbers and stuff. Like, okay.
All right, whatever. You know, small thing, but I'll take it. So, yeah, Chirito wants a 750 from Van Zandt, but Neil says they've got too much heat. He says he's a fucking luxury. Take the bank or split right now. Chris says that the bank is worth the risk. He needs it. Chirito is also in on the bank. He's loyal to Neil. And then Neil recommends Chirito cut loose, but for him, the action is the juice.
That's a good line.
I just love like them turning to Trejo. He's like, yeah, sure, I'm in.
Yeah, sure. He's like,
So Vincent goes to Alan Marciano in Vegas with Las Vegas PD, wants him extradited or give up Charlene, right?
Who?
Kind of like strong arms him.
What are you, a fucking owl?
Dude, okay, did fucking Martin Scorsese steal that for Wolf of Wall Street?
Right. Like, I feel like that has happened in so many movies.
Yes.
You know, somebody's like, who? What are you fucking out? Like, oh my God. But Hank Azaria's like face, like the second he goes,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Azaria, whatever. He talked about it. He was like, that's totally like ad-libbed, and we had no idea it was coming. And my face, I'm just like, are we still doing the scene? He was like, I was so just caught off guard that I had no idea he was going to take it in this direction. But I love, again, the subtle things that I love about, about Vincent when he's got him by the ties. You come and work for us, cut and dry. That is it. I love his little pronunciations of things. It's almost like Harvey Keitel in Reservoir Dogs, where he was like, you know, you're going to be okay. Say the goddamn words. Like, he's got a weird, like, cadence that he goes by in this that's a little offbeat, and I dig it. But he just gets a little loud for my taste at some points, but he always brings it back down, which is cool.
Not only is it Azaria's face that is hilarious after he because she's got a great ass. Dude, it's his Jesus.
Yeah.
He's just like
good God.
Jesus.
And I love Drucker. His face is just like, yeah, sniff it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You like it.
So Neil's crew are down at the docks, fake planning just to lure in Vincent and his team, basically reading them like a book, right? And Vincent looks over at the cranes and works it out, right? Like is this guy something or is he something? We just got made.
Yeah. It. Okay, motherfucker. I love that.
I love him, putting his hands out and shit.
And even Neil's like smiling a little bit. Neil's kind of like, all right, yeah, he picked it. Yeah, he's smart enough to know that I'm smart enough to know.
Yeah. And then we get Nate and Neil in the car, right? He gives Neil the information on Vincent and what kind of surveillance he has on him. He says he's taken down some heavy crews, tells him about Vincent's reputation. He's good. He's dedicated. And then Nate suggests passing on the job, just solely based on Vincent's reputation. He says, this guy can hit and miss. You can't miss once. I love it. I love this whole kind of like, this is too much. They've got this guy on you. This guy fucking, this guy leaves his family to go out and do fucking like that kind of shit. This guy's been through this many marriages. So he's dedicated to the fucking job. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he's like, he's been married 3 times. Do you think that means he likes staying at home? That's good, man.
So good.
And I mean, it's like point in case when he comes home. Next scene is like Justine getting ready to go out by herself. It's like, that's a point in case, man. Literally,
for sure. Yeah, like you said, comes home to Justine all glammed up. She's going out. And I'm just like, come on, Vincent. She's doing this for your attention, man. She's a woman.
Yeah, right. It's like this is definitely like not the moment to just go, okay, and you just leave. It's like, dude, come on, man. Like you got to fight for something a little bit. Come on.
Instead, he just fires up the chopper and decides to tail his man crush Neil.
Yeah, Jesus, good Lord, man.
But look, these shots of LA, the LA skyline, they're gorgeous. Somewhere Michael Mann's jizzing the entire time because this is what he does. Also, it's it reminds me a lot of Collateral. Collateral has a lot of these helicopter shots of the LA skyline and the streets. Vincent lights up Neil and proceeds to have a conversation with him. I do think that this kind of this tailing sequence goes for a little bit. You know what I mean? I think the pacing for this movie is actually pretty solid for nearly 3-hour movie. But there are these this moment in particular, it feels like Mann kind of indulged a little bit with the LA porn. You know what I mean? It's okay, let's back down a little bit.
I love it because the song they use is another that boom 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 boom. It's a Joy Division song that is covered by Moby. So you've got 2 incredible artists on that one track, and just the shots of him sped up flying through the traffic and shit. I do like it aesthetically, but if you could cut anything, you could probably cut this down a little bit. Right. But the second Neil gets pulled over, he tucks the gun under his hip and Vincent gets out with his. It's like, dude, I just love the formality of both of us know we're both loaded, just so both of us can know.
It's so good, man. He wants to know the guy. He wants to get into his mind. And of course, before we head into our break here, we're going to talk about the iconic scene, right? The iconic diner scene, the scene of scenes. And this scene, this is the moment that this movie was sold on, right? I mean, I obviously didn't watch this movie in 1995. I wasn't around for its. I mean, I was around, but I didn't take notice of its advertising or anything. But you have these 2 titans, right? You have Robert De Niro, you have Al Pacino, The Godfather, Scarface, Goodfellas, Raging Bull, fucking Carlito's Way, Dog Day Afternoon. Exactly. So you have these 2 titans of cinema, and here they are about to share the scene together for the first time. Unfortunately, not for the last time because they were in Righteous Kill together, 2008 movie. Terrible.
They've both talked about that and been like, we were really disappointed in the final product of like what that came to be, and we're really embarrassed actually by that movie. I was like, damn, that sucks. But I mean, like, at least they did The Irishman. I mean, I didn't like The Irishman, but I'm sure it's better than Righteous Kill.
Love The Irishman, but I think I don't know if I'm in the minority on that one. It's a bit of a. I mean, it got nominated for 12 Oscars, didn't win a one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the second in Gangs of, like in fucking Scorsese's career, Gangs of New York, nominated for 10, didn't win one.
Oh, really? That's such a good movie.
Yeah. But let's talk about this, right? This leads, of course, to the iconic diner scene. The first time they shared a scene together in film history. This is so incredibly engrossing and just magnetic. According to Mann, the scene wasn't even rehearsed, right? That was a request by De Niro. Apparently, to make it seem like Vincent and Neil were unfamiliar with each other. So let me just get into a little bit of a backstory. You already mentioned that Adamson and real life McCauley. The scene was based on a chance meeting between Adamson and McCauley. So McCauley had been on Adamson's radar since the early 60s, and the detective felt that they'd cross paths eventually. However, he probably didn't expect to encounter him for the first time the way he did. When McCauley was released from prison in 1963, he bumped into Adamson on the off chance, and they ended up having coffee together in a Chicago diner. The meeting started off tense, with the detective trying to persuade the criminal to go a different city and give up his old ways. The criminal declined, and they agreed that their next encounter would end with one of them being eliminated.
Oh, yeah. I was watching something Chuck Adamson. He's like, now, mind you, this was 40 years ago. He was like, but the dialogue in the movie is, pretty much it was the gist of what we were saying. And he was like, I told him, why don't you pack up and just get the hell out of here? And he goes, I like Chicago. And like, that was it, because all this is really taking place in Chicago. So and he was like, that's just as simple as he was. He just said, I like Chicago. And like, that's it. And that's why he was staying. Like, fucking hell, man. And, yeah. What's interesting is this bank job at the end, apparently in real life, it was something similar. Like they were hitting, I think it might have been a grocery store that also cashed checks, but it was for, I think the equivalent today would be like 120 grand or something like that. It really wasn't that much. So I definitely, obviously it's a lot more exciting hitting a bank for 12 million than a grocery store for 100 grand.
Definitely up those numbers, Michael, man.
Yeah. But Chuck Adamson fucking killed Neil McCauley. Like the next time he saw him is crazy.
It's wild. Vincent kicks off the conversation, talks about chasing down all kinds of crews. You see me doing thrill-seeking liquor store holds up with a Born to Lose tattoo on my chest.
Yeah,
dude, the dialogue here is so incredible. Neil underscores the fact that he's never going back to prison, right? These two men understand each other. Neil doesn't want a regular type life. Vincent spends all his time chasing guys like Neil around the block. That's why his life's in the shitter. And then Neil lays down the philosophy that he got from prison, right? Drop 30 seconds flat. And he says, what are you, a monk?
Yeah.
This is them like feeling each other out. Like, they don't know how to do anything else. They're so committed and they're absolute masters of their own craft. They understand each other. The only ones to understand each other. Vincent tells Neil about his morbid dream. These big balloon people, they just look at each other. They look at him. They don't talk. The dream ends. Neil has a dream where he's drowning. I love that Mann isn't such an obvious writer, so that Neil's having dreams of being shot to death at an airport. You know what I mean? Like it's just not in anyone else's hands. It's so I was at an airport, in my dream, and I got shot by a police detective. It's just so in the moment. It's not. It feels throwaway, but it's not throwaway because, isn't it kind of like a thing where, if you're having dreams of drowning, that means impending doom or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, or that you're not in control of your life, or something. I can't really remember exactly, because some dream interpretation stuff is bullshit. Sometimes you just have a weird, I have dreams where I'm shopping with my, for groceries in a Speedo with my third grade teacher, why the fuck am I thinking of that? Right. But I do think generally, yeah, that's kind of basically what it means.
Vincent tells Neil if he has to put him away, he won't like it, right? Or put him down, he's not going to like it. If it's between you and some poor bastard whose wife you're going to turn into a widow, brother, you are going down.
Yeah, but and I love just as fast as he turns that around, hey, there's a flip side to that. It's like if you feel that itch and you got to scratch it, well, I can scratch right back,
Right. And of course, the scene ends with either of the men, with both of the men acknowledging who knows how it'll go down. Maybe we'll never see each other again, says Neil. But, something in both of their faces, in both of their eyes tells me that, neither of them believe it for a second. Like they both end this conversation with maybe we'll never see each other again. But I don't know if I believe that.
We probably will, but there's a small chance we won't,
Right. What a fucking scene, man. What is scene? There's a reason that this scene is so hyped up. There's a reason that everyone talks about this scene, and it's so, like I said, magnetic. You're on the edge of your seat. These two know that they're after each other. Well, I mean, know
that they're after each other and they could kill each other right now, but they're still gentlemen about it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah. There's a lot of naysayers who say that, they were never in the same scene together because the way that it's edited is they're never in the same shot together, but there's definitely behind the scenes footage. There's definitely behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're in the final shot together for sure. Because he's holding
Oh,
Neil's arm, and there's that wide shot, and it's behind.
In this scene, in this cafe.
Oh, in this scene in particular. Okay.
Yeah. So the way that he shot it, that man shot it, is he actually used 3 cameras, so one on each side and then one for a profile shot. But in the editing, Mann cut out all the ones for the profile shot. He wanted just kind of pointing.
Yeah, they do a great job because it's. It feels like when it cuts back and forth, they're on opposite sides of the frame a little bit. They're a little bit off. I'm like, that's great, subtle imagery.
Yeah. And look, that about wraps up the first half of Heat. That about wraps up the first half of this podcast. It's 2 hours. Jesus Christ. We're going to take a break right here, guys. We hope you'll join us for the second half of our coverage of Heat.
Hey guys, what's going on? Colin jumping in here in the middle. Just kind of let you know some stuff that's going on at Midnight Double Feature. First off, please stop by and rate and review us on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. It helps out so much. It takes 5 seconds and it's free. So there you go. We would really, really appreciate it. Also, you can find us on our socials. We're on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. Please also join the group that we have attached to our Facebook page. It's called the After Party. Everybody's invited. That group has been really expanding and we're really excited to see where it's going. You can also find our website, midnightdoublefeature.com. We got our merch there. If you want to know something, you want to find us on our socials, you want to see what all's going on, that's kind of like our main hub. That's really where to find it if you want it. We also have a podcast for Breaking Bad that we have going on. It's called Bad Crystal. It's an interesting show where I actually haven't seen any of the episodes of Breaking Bad. Zoheb has seen it 15 times, and he's kind of leading me through it. I'm experiencing it for the first time with a veteran, and it's an interesting dynamic and it's a lot of fun. And lastly, if you really, really, really want to support the show and really put all your cards on the table, we do have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. It's $5 a month. There's only one tier. You get all access to everything that we've got going on. We've got bonus episodes. We've got off the rails kind of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff that's not going to make it to the main page, and there's a lot more geared for Patreon kind of stuff. So we really hope to see you guys over there. Like I said, plans start at $5 a month and end at $5 a month. That's the only one that we've got going on. We really, really hope that you guys can join up there, and we will hope to see you soon. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Boys and girls, coming at you with the second half of our coverage of Heat. We are freshly squeezed, as we always like to say, and jumping right back into it. This is now we've had this great scene between McCauley and Hannah, and right after it's actually one of my favorite fucking lines from Al Pacino. He walks in and he's like, "They dumped us." And they're like, "What does he mean?" It's It's like he, basically he's dumped everything. His wife doesn't talk about their scores. They dumped all of our fucking surveillance right at the same time, 9:00. I had coffee with McCauley half an hour ago. Like, that's so fucking,
I love it. I love it.
It's so fucking good. And he's like, yeah. And then he flew into LAX where we can't fly, and he never came out, basically. Like, God, they're such pro, and it's such a nice moment because we've had this incredible, like, it's almost like there's a great story of this World War II. There was, I think it was the British and the Germans, or the Americans and the Germans. But on Christmas Day, everybody stopped like fighting and played soccer and ate beans and ham out of cans and like smoked cigarettes and hung out. And then the next day started shooting at each other again. And that's something that I kind of like is it's not like, okay, everything's calm and then we're going to like kind of slowly edge everything back up. Now we're going to jump right to 10 with McCauley making this huge like power move and everybody dumping all of their shit. It's like, whew, that's fucking awesome, dude. And like the choice to fly over LAX, like I'd never heard of that before, that now they couldn't follow him in the chopper because he went into the airport. It's like, fuck, that's right, smart, man.
During our break, I was like thinking about that a little bit because like, yeah, like, you'd think that the talk between them two, like the purpose of it would be to simmer things down, right? To like eventually resolve something, but it doesn't. Like they didn't go there to resolve anything. I don't even think that, like Vincent, like when he went and like got coffee with him, like I don't think at any point in his mind did he think that talking to Neil would, back him off or like calm anything down or de-escalate anything. Like Vincent initially went there to, probably to do something, to like get some kind of level of understanding, to get to know someone, because like, if you think about it, Vincent comes home, his wife's leaving, whatever, it's a shitty situation and no one understands Vincent except Neil, so like he kind of like went there for companionship rather than de-escalation, which is interesting.
Right, yeah, maybe to walk away with a better read on this guy, but I also think that maybe there's a part of Hannah that's like, I at least want to sit down and tell this guy like, hey man, this is what's going to happen if you don't quit. Like, I at least want to give him that maybe kind of benefit because he is such an equal like adversary. But yeah, so they dump all of their shit right away. They're getting ready for the bank job. They're installing these, the things to cut the alarms. And then we also get this really interesting scene where we finally see the villains start to team up. Where we see Van Zant and Waingro basically have a partnership now. And I think also what's interesting is right after this is where, Trejo calls and says he can't make it, and then they pick up, Don in the diner. And the interesting thing is that it's such a rash decision on Neil's part, and it doesn't end up backfiring on him at all. Don obviously gets killed, but, Trejo probably would have been killed too. So it doesn't really backfire on him, but it's so not in Neil's character to do that. I think that is it's so rash, but I think that it's because it just barely meets his parameters of like, yeah, I know this guy, like I know he's cool, but it's not somebody I feel like that he trusts. It seems like such a rash thing.
Right. What I love about this is like when he hangs up, he's like, fuck, like he's visibly frustrated. So like there's this level of like desperation on Neil now in particular with this job, like, like that there wasn't in previous jobs, whether that is because he met Edie, because now they have these like plans to move away, like things have changed. So I feel like his parameters have changed a little bit, like his like what he will and won't accept have changed a little bit now that he's met Edie.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think there's also something in having kind of not failed the last job, but having to have walked away from it as well. So they've lost the money they haven't gotten anything from Van Zant. They haven't gotten anything from this metals place, and they're about to lose this huge job. Like, it's kind of like they're, 0 for 2, 0 for 3 right now. And this is where they get this decision to put Don in there. I love the way he gives his 2 weeks notice. That fucking manager, he fucking just launches him.
Isn't that where like do you think you're going? Dream?
Oh, dude, yeah, to pick up that fucking Peter Pettigrew looking motherfucker and launch him. So yeah, he's like, fuck yeah, I'm down. I can work the wheels and the radio and everything. And this is where we see, the fucking score is on. Neil, Michael, and Chris, they make haste, bagging up the cash, while at the same time Hugh Benny calls Hannah for the tip-off about the bank job. This whole scene is just a masterclass, dude. I think that not only are we juggling like one of the biggest parts of this entire movie with a bank heist, we're also jumping over to like Hugh Benny tipping off the cops, and the cops finally showing up. And what's interesting is it's not like you think that the bank robbery would be the part where there's like guns blazing and they go in and maybe like shoot somebody and then they start collecting up the money. There's not a shot fired. They're totally under control the entire time, and nothing, like the only real reason again that this doesn't go off without a hitch is because of like Waingro. It's just because of this decision to work with somebody you haven't worked with before. It's like he is just like a fracture in this entire story that it's like you kind of like once you realize the impact that Waingro has had on the story, you start to kind of get why Neil just can't walk away. It's like, dude, you got my friend Chris shot, you got Michael killed, you got this Don guy killed, like you fucked up so much shit.
We can't go past the music. I mean, this is like the music is just stuck in my head. The dun 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 dun,
yes,
dun, 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 dun. And it goes for so long, all the way until Chris fires his first shot. Like it's so long.
And I watched a little thing with Elliot Goldenthal where he was like, everything was percussive, everything. And it's like, yes, you can definitely feel that. And like, I wonder how goddamn heavy that bag of cash is, man. That's got to be so fucking heavy. And they're carrying like two of them, like Neil walks out with two and gives one to Tom Sizemore. It's like, fuck, that's got to be so heavy, man. But yeah, everything goes off without a hitch. We have the cops showing up. And then, like you said, with Chris firing off on him, literally puts makes Hannah's words like a literal thing. He's like, at the drop of a dime, these guys will rock and roll. And the second he sees fucking, Bubba Gump and then, Dances with Wolves, he fucking unloads on them.
Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, there you
go. This is, I mean, how can you go past? This is, I mean, like without hyperbole, without exaggeration, probably one of the best shootouts in film history.
No, I mean, it probably is the best shootout. I mean, honestly, the scale of it, the length of it, the intensity of it, the fact that it's, none of this is shot like on a soundstage.
Yeah, the authenticity.
Yes. And you have a great sense of where everyone is during the battle. Like, Vincent's coming up from the back, but the squad, like the uniformed are like dead ahead of them. So they're getting pushed from
there's roadblocks because fucking Buffalo Bill called in the roadblocks. Dude, when I hear him say, put up a block at Figueroa, I was like, oh shit. Cause like,
put up a roadblock at Figueroa.
Because Figueroa is where it's one of the main streets in like LA, but like that's where I stayed when I went to LA.
Oh, cool.
On Figueroa
That's
Street,
awesome.
Figueroa Road, whatever. So yeah, like this is, man, what a scene. I mean, like, where do we begin? How do we break this down?
For one thing, do you know? Now, I don't know how many times they filmed this. They said they can only do it on the weekends, obviously. And that, the whole play, it was just like a war zone. Do you know how many rounds of fucking ammo they went through for every take of this? 800 to 1,000 rounds of ammo every single time they did this. I was like, and I mean, I can't imagine they did it more than twice, like 2 or 3 times at the most. I mean, the budget's huge. It's $60 million for that time. It's like $100 million movie today. Right. But still, I mean, to do this, to shut that down, the permits, like all that shit would just be like, oh my God, like resetting the cars, because they're obviously not doing real damage. They've got to reset the cars to do this. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's such an incredible performance that I think it's the Marines actually show this as an effective way to take cover and like to basically to push forward and like retreat. Defend yourself at the same time. Yeah. It's also incredible.
One of the first movies to actually show someone like when they're firing down a gun, they're actually looking down the sights instead of aiming from the hip. Like it's like almost everyone in this scene. Actually, I believe it's everyone. They're actually, when they're firing their rifles, they're looking down the sights. They're not hip firing.
Yeah, and the first time they did this is all done on like a mock-up wooden stage.
Yeah,
like that they went outside at the sheriff's department, let them use, and it's like with live ammo. And they're like, because I think it was Al Pacino. He was like, I've had guns before, and obviously like you train and you do stuff, but I've never done fucking live ammo. It's like, yeah, I bet you that would be kind of crazy, especially firing like. Have you ever fired? You've never fired like a handgun or anything, have you?
Nope.
You never fired a gun?
Nope.
Dude, they are so fucking loud. Like I've shot an old like Colt 1911 for World War II. They were incredibly loud. And so were like 357 Magnums and shit, like unbelievable. I've never shot.
So you're a fucking madman. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I've never shot an automatic rifle like what they're shooting. I have had someone come to like our property that we grew up on shooting them and like AKs and stuff. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, I mean, just the. Oh
no, sorry. I was just going to mention the sound design of these. Like, I mean, like it's not even sound design. Yeah. It's unfiltered gunfire. Yeah. Like it's absolutely no editing required. It's just unfiltered, and it's every Mann movie that uses these. Like, I mean, I will never forget the first time I watched Collateral and you see Tom Cruise fuck those motherfuckers up in that alley. The sound of that gun, oh man, like you said, dude, like this is what surround sounds for sound bars were built for. Like, as I love this like unbroken shot of Chris like back and forth behind him, in front of him, just like switching, just like firing, and then getting down on the knee and reloading, and then there's like a break in the sound, and all you hear is go, like like it's this communication as well. It's so like like I've never been in the military. Obviously, I don't have military training. I don't know anyone who has military training, but you can tell that there is some level of authenticity above what you normally see in standard action scenes, right? I mean, like in standard action movies, like there is something more here than meets the eye. It feels a lot more real. Like, like I said at the beginning, it looks like we watched a documentary of a guard being actually executed. Like, you know what I mean? It feels like we're watching live footage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is
right.
And
it's not glamorous. It's not like a over stylized. It's not like an Edgar Wright, film where it would be crazy stylized and have like really cool, effects.
Yeah,
because
fuck Edgar Wright.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because fuck him. But the one of the most interesting things about the sound design is, after Neil gets away with Chris, and now Bosco's been shot, the blonde-haired guy who looks like Sean Penn in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I think his name's Schwartz. Schwartz gets shot. Don gets killed. Obviously, Cerrito gets killed. Chris gets shot in the collarbone or whatever. But after he kills Michael Cerrito, after Neil and Chris get away, I was like, wait, how the fuck did he find Michael Cerrito so fast? And you can hear, like with headphones on, you can hear faintly like pop, 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 like in the background. And I'm like, oh, he's running towards the gunshot. Yeah. It's like, God damn it, that's so good.
That reminds me of The Dark Knight, actually. Like in The Dark Knight, after Commissioner Gordon sort of like, what is it, like the funeral, the marching moment, after the Joker's like done his like little assassination attempt and Gordon gets killed, or so we think. There's that moment where Dent is walking towards the ambulance to get that guy, and as he's like walking towards him, you still hear gunshots in the background, and everyone's like ducking, covering, but it's not the focus of what's happening. You know what I mean? I love that. Right.
Yeah, and and ultimately, where this movie ends up becoming about obsession so much is when you see Vincent Hannah, at no point should he really, I mean, you've got people that are shooting at you with like machine guns, so it's kind of hard to justify just letting them go. But at the same time, he's, he's shoving people out of his way to get to Neil. Like he's I get it. You can't just let somebody shoot at you with an automatic weapon and then just like get away scot free. But at what point are you doing more harm than good when you're firing into like crowds and shit and having to shove people down and stuff?
Right.
Like,
which is why he shoots Schrader, crazy, right? I mean, like, which is why,
right?
I mean, like, when I first watched this, I was like, "There's no fucking way that a police officer shoots in this situation. You don't shoot someone holding a little girl hostage. You just don't." But I mean, like, Vincent is such a flawed character, like he's someone who's like driven to get these guys that like, he will break rules. And I wish we did see a little bit more of a kind of like a blowback of like him, like feeling like, I don't know, like maybe him being like dressed down or something, like killing like Chirito in this instance, because like this is so outside of like police, I guess, procedure. He shouldn't be shooting.
One of my favorite shots of this whole shootout is when it's De Niro posted up on like a lamppost or something, and he's firing, and you just see Val Kilmer like just come flying through the frame, and it's like, holy shit. And the realism of it, as well as when you see De Niro pushing, you can watch Sizemore running across the street in the background, and it's like, oh my god, you can definitely see why some people may think, or it was inspired by, like the North Hollywood shootout was inspired by this. Very, very similar situations. But after the shooting is finally over, Bosco, Don, and Michael are dead. Christian Schwartz are injured, and Neil sets out for Trejo, believing him to be the rat. I love this little Jeremy Piven scene. He's like, oh man, my daughter got it for me for Valentine's. I don't give a shit who gave it to you. Give it to me. You take it off.
Dude, fucking basically young Ari Gold. I love it.
Yeah. So he sets out for Trejo. I've only seen Danny Trejo look this bad in fucking Breaking Bad. I mean, he looks horrible here. And the fucked up thing is, I think that it's, I don't want to say heavily implied, but because it's Waingro, I think that Anna's definitely been raped as well as murdered.
I agree.
I just assume so. You see like a totally nude pair of legs on a bloody bed. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And
I love that he calls him
tells
Holmes.
him, dude, LSG ruined that for me. That hardcore, like just as Hey, do you remember ruined Peter, like from Spider-Man, like LSG has ruined hard in the best way possible. But he says, they got Anna, they forced me to do it, and I like the fact that Neil's like, yeah, I'm going to call you an ambulance. I think he understands, like, I was basically, you fucked up, but at the same time, Neil's like not like totally misunderstanding the situation. Like he gets it, he gets why he would do it. But he ends up, putting Trejo out of his misery. He says was forced to give up. It was Waingro and the Van Zant crew. Hannah and company pay a little visit to Hugh Binney while Neil visits with Van Zant and ends their business relationship. I like that simultaneously that's going on,
It's so good. I love the breach, with the shotgun on the hinges. That's the first time I saw something like that. I was like, you can do that? You can blow off the hinges of a door and kick a door?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
they forget it has a middle hinge, and they're like, "God damn it!" And it just won't come off.
Dude, like they shoot it, and fucking Vincent just comes running through and just
he just fucking off. Like a hole gets blown in the door. He's like, "Yes, Charlie!" and just starts like fucking shooting the door. But yeah, so they end up getting a hold of Hugh Binney. While also, like I said, Neil ends his business relationship with Van Zant. Where's Waingro? How the hell should I know? And like, that's such a great, like, why would I know? I'm not his friend. My business with him is basically done. It's just so funny. I'm sorry, watching Pacino kick Henry Rollins' ass. Because I mean, seriously, Henry Rollins is a bad motherfucker, man. Like he's scary.
Yeah.
He has a great story about going to North Korea. And, they don't want entertainers and celebrities and stuff. Yeah. And there was somebody there the whole time. He's like, dude, can I get a picture? He's like, hey, cut that shit out, man. You're going to get me killed. But yeah, God, and again, I love that. Oh, Jesus Christ. She looked fucking amazing. And I do kind of like when I see her though, and Val Kilmer, and they both have like the blonde. I'm like, y'all look like siblings, man. Like, like it looks a little weird. But Hank Azaria, he takes Charlene to the safe house, and Drucker lays out her options for her: give up Chris or lose Dominic and go to prison. He kind of lays it all out. He's going to get ping ponged and fucked by the system, fucked for life. With Hugh Benny's info, Hannah puts everything together finally, and now they're going to start watching Wangro to see if Neil strikes. This is what I was talking about. This is the only time in the movie that really somebody lays everything out. And so he goes, hey, yeah, so this is what happened. He fucked him over, so now he's doing this and blah, blah, blah. And this is where they really lay it all out. And I love they do it in like 10 seconds. Boom, that's it. That's basically the only
exposition or anything like that, yeah.
Right, absolutely. I got to say, I also appreciate the way that Drucker sticks up for Charlene, when Marciano's being an asshole. And he's like, you get in there and you stay in there. Like, I fucking like it, man.
No, I really like it too. Like, he's very pro battered women's. I mean, obviously. Yeah, I like it a lot. This is, are we talking about this scene with Charlene? Like, and where she waves.
Yeah, go for it.
So, this is a great.
Well, no, I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, okay,
I don't think we're quite there yet because we have this scene where Neil comes back to Edie, and then I think this this is I think. I love Amy Britterman here because of her reaction is basically just like, yeah, that was you. What the fuck? And obviously she goes running off and shit. But like, I don't know, the first time I watched this, it's incredibly awkward. It's kind of grown on me since, but I don't know. There was something so awkward about this scene at first. It was like, I didn't love it. It's like, it's grown on me a little bit, but I still am trepidatious about it sometimes. Like, I don't know about that. It just feels a little, I don't know. It feels a little weird. And I like the fact that he's, she's basically like, when are you going to let me go? I'm not here like of my own free will. And basically, I don't want to be here, but it's such beautiful shots. Like it looks like they're sitting in like a wheat field and you see like the purple and the sun setting behind them.
Yeah. Oh
my God. It's so fucking good. And he's like, yeah, there you go. There's the door if you want to leave. She's like, what are you going to do if, you're going to come back and kill me later? It's like, fuck, man. I don't blame her. Her whole perception of this person has been shattered. And I love, she's like, why did you do this to me? Why did you make me fall in love with you? And then you become this person. It's like, that's so great. Hannah comes back home to find Ralph with Justine. I love that. And he's like, I'm sorry, dude. She didn't tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Dude, Ralph was, so I was reading, Ralph was actually Wangro in LA Takedown. He played his character.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And also
apparently Wangro,
the foster father from Terminator 2 gets the milk through the,
Yeah. Apparently Wangro, and I mean, much like a lot of these characters, was based on a real guy. And the director's commentary, Michael Mann was like, yeah, Wangro, based on a real guy, ratted out a crew, and they found him in New Mexico on like basically nailed to a shack, like he had been killed, and he was nailed to a shack. And I was like, holy shit. But this is some of Pacino's best stuff. He's like, you can lounge around in her ex-husband's dead tech postmodern house, but you could not watch my fucking television. So I love that little thing. Yeah. I love down, Ralph.
Dude, I love her. Now I have to demean myself with Ralph.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. I feel bad for Ralph in this scene. Poor fucking guy.
No, fuck it. He's a home wrecker.
Sucks.
I don't care if he didn't know.
Yeah, I don't care if he didn't. Should have figured. There's like pictures of like their wedding pictures on the nightstand as he's like fucking railing her. Like she's in her wedding dress as he's fucking railing her.
Oh God. No, Jesus, I love that.
But I think this is where we're about to get that scene where Charlene waves him off. But we get a little bit more. Nate and Neil, he comes back, says Chris is gone. Hey, brother, it's a free country. And what's so nice is John Boyd said to Michael Mann, he's like, I think there's a lot better actors out there that would play this role more better than I would. And then all Michael Mann said was, yeah, John, but then we wouldn't get a chance to work together. And so he said he was so sweet about it. And that John Voight was like, man, that really meant a lot that he was like going to bat for me to that degree. He says that fucking Chris is gone. Neil finally kind of lays it all out. It reminds me of the 1975. It's a song called "It's Not Living If It's Not With You." It's not living if it's not with you. That's basically what he's saying. It's not worth going anywhere if it's not with you anymore. And this is enough for her apparently, and she turns right back about 180s right back into his arms. I was like, dude, this is
he's just
nuts.
like, yeah, life is short. You want to walk around a little bit, yeah, whatever. Hey, maybe let's go to New Zealand. She's like, sure.
That's some of the most like, it's like Jenny Agutter, an American Werewolf in London. Like, wow, she fucking let him into that flat real quick. It's like, that's kind of crazy. Again, I feel like they fumbled the ball in this a little bit. I think they do great with Ashley Judd in terms of a female character, because they actually had Ashley Judd research for like women whose husbands were dead or were in prison or had run off, and were victims, in a ripple effect of this kind of
De Niro went to like
lifestyle.
Folsom apparently and like interviewed criminals and stuff. Like,
yeah.
The level of research that went into this was insane.
Absolutely. I mean, he's method as fuck. Him.
Yeah.
So they're waiting at the safe house for Chris to show up. He does. She kind of flashes in the signal, hey, get the fuck out of here. I love the disguise. He just cut his hair. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, totally different guy,
Yeah, he cut his hair, and then like I also noticed that like he was also it looks like he was, because I was like, didn't he get shot in the thing? And then he's like, it looks like he's been kind of like shot, like he's kind of like clutching at something.
Yeah, so, he's definitely like, oh shit, like he looks like it's like he's got really bad gas. Yeah.
But I like the music here. Like this what is this? This like, I don't know what instrument this is.
It sounds like some kind of keyboard version of a synth. I feel like, I'm like, dude, really all you did was like cut your hair? You couldn't have like, I don't know, dye it or get a pair of glasses or put on a fake beard or something. But I've got a buddy of mine named Matt that looks so much like him, and all I can think of is Matt. Like when he smiles up at her, it looks so much like my buddy. But this is bittersweet. And again, Chris is based on a guy who, when they tried to take that department store in real life, Neil McCauley, this guy actually got away. I think he was caught later on, but he actually did get away from Chuck Adamson and like the rest of the cops and shit, which I thought was really fucking cool. But it's awesome to see Chris kind of get out of this. But at the same time, it's like, he's basically not going to see her or Dominic for a very long time, because they're going to be watching her like a fucking hawk. It's like you lose the war to kind of win, or I guess you lose the battle to kind of win the war.
Right. Well, this is this scene was like, I guess, echoed in The Town right at the end of that movie when Rebecca Hall's on the phone and like the cops are in the apartment and she's, what does she say? She says something about the son or something, I don't know, but like she basically gives Ben Affleck's character like the hint. Like, yeah, this is still such great like tension storytelling, but I love that the cops aren't dumb enough to like let him go. Like they still check him out. Like, you know what I mean? Like Bubba Gump like gets him to stop him like down the road. But
because why not? Yeah.
Unfortunately, like beat cops, like fucking a fake ID, and yeah, it is fine. Like
it's him. What are we gonna do? So he nearly escapes, and that's the last we see of him.
That is the last we see of him. I was like watching this movie, and I was like, whatever happens to Chris? Because like, I don't remember him dying in a gunshot, like in a gunfight or anything. But like, I like it. I like that there's this character out there who's lived all these events, and he kind of just rode off into the sunset, lost his family. If anything, this is probably what the book is going to be about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that kind of like the setup, but then also like the aftermath so many years later. And I mean, obviously, I think some characters are going to be dead. I think Vincent Hannah is going to be a little, if it's present day, that's going to be a little bit older. But he kind of laments the fact that, hey, he thinks Neil's gone. He's like, bon voyage, motherfucker. He just says it's a gut feeling. I think he's gone. I'm going to go back to my hotel room and I'm going to sleep for a month. That is such a good line.
I don't like this. I don't like the whole gut feeling. Neil's gone kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't love gut feeling shit because, but for one thing, he's wrong. And I kind of like that. I like the fact that he's wrong. It kind of shows it's human. I think that he's, I wonder if it's just kind of like a side effect of him just being so pissed off from like, Justine and Ralph and shit and just finally having that kind of closure. But I think there's something that Neil is, not only is his marriage totally dissolved, basically dissolved for nothing because he wasn't able to catch this guy and now he's just gone. And the only person that even kept him somewhat interested is just like gone now, What did you think of this whole subplot with Natalie Portman, committing suicide in his hotel room and
this
stuff?
Is interesting. And I'm glad you asked that because it comes at a really strange time in the movie, in the events of the, I guess, A plot, if you want to call it, because McCauley's gearing up to leave, and things are happening. Wayne Gro's out there, whatever. Like I don't know. I still don't know about this. I don't know if this Natalie Portman thing is necessary. I think the decline of his relationship is enough. I don't know if the whole entire Natalie Portman suicide attempt situation is necessary. I don't know. This is the one moment, the one part of the movie that I'm like still, I guess, trying to make my mind up about it. I've seen this a million times, but yeah.
Right. And I like the pacing of it. I don't mind the fact that we just had these characters at each other's throat, and that it's such a shocking event that obviously it just kind of shatters all of that heinous shit that they have for each other. I like the fact that it kind of brings them together. But yeah, I don't know. The Dennis Haysbert thing, that I can definitely figure out the meaning in that. But with this, I'm like, I don't know is it just to add to more of the, fucked up shit that's going on in his life? Is it just to show that even with Neil gone, his personal problems like still persist? I don't know. I guess it's kind of open for interpretation. I don't think that, let me put it this way. I don't think that it hurts anything, but I definitely don't think it helps anything. I think I'm pretty much even on it. I can take it or leave it. I don't mind that it's there, but if you had to cut something, but if they had developed their relationship a lot more, then I would be okay with this. I would feel this was a little bit more, thought out well. It just seems like it's a little thrown in there just to kind of add some emotional stuff that, again, I don't feel. I don't really feel anything from that.
I agree with you. Mostly, I'll tell you what though, Portman plays a great corpse.
She does a great job.
She's thing with her arm, her arm fucking comes around it. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh man, she has this very like disassociating kind of like vibe through this whole movie, and she does a really good job for the most part. For the little that she's in it, she definitely leaves like an impression on you. They end up staying at the hospital for a while. This is where the doctor comes out. Neil says he's not going anywhere. I like all this. I like these scenes together. Just basically, showing that when it really comes down to it, they're just putting these guns down and making peace, for even if it's temporary for the time being.
I do like Vincent coming in there and telling the doctors like, this is what you should do this. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's, it seems very, obviously parental like, but also professional like as well. Yeah, I dig it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We get a call from, Neil to Nate, who basically says like, hey, you're right on time. You're out at the airport. Also Wayne Gro's at the Marquis Hotel. You wanted to tell me. I just wanted to tell you, he's like, take it easy, brother. You're home free. And I love the little, I don't know, just the little feeling as Nate hangs up the phone. Just, man, it's the last time I'll talk to my friend, and like, I felt
either
more
way.
like I felt
either way, like, whether he turns right or he goes straight, either way is the last time I talk to him.
Like, these people have been, like, Neil and Nate have been friends for such a long time, and for that relationship just to end so quickly like that, just over the phone. Both of them knew it was going to end like that, but I felt something like when he hangs up, he's like, hey, you're home free, because John Voight is not a character who talks a lot in this, and he doesn't expound on a lot of stuff. You know, he's very quick and he's very direct. But he has this kind of like calm presence about him. So for him to actually take a moment to be like, you're home free, man, like, see ya, you know, to actually take a moment to properly say goodbye and acknowledge it. I just love that. No, I felt more from that than I did from Natalie Portman killing herself. Honestly, I honestly did. I was like, oh man.
But I love that as soon as he hangs up, like, I don't know if I'm looking too much into this. I probably am, but like them entering like the white tunnel, it's like super bright, and it's like,
oh yeah,
it's like riding off into the sunset kind of thing. But like, you know,
you're right there,
and then like you're immediately into the darkness once you exit, and then he takes a right. I got a question for you. In base, like, I guess, terms, why do you think he goes right? Like, only because, like, I think it's a number of things. I think it's this guy Waingro killed, like, you know, had a hand in killing my friends, right? I mean, like, in killing these people that I know. But also, I think there's like a bit of like a self-destruction thing going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he knows he's missing something. I don't know. I can't explain that second part. The Waingro thing alone isn't enough for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like the revenge part of it. That's not enough for me. I feel like there's more to it in his decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there could be conscious and like subconscious things going on. Like, I think that on the conscious level, he's like, you know, this guy got my friend Michael. I don't know. It might be enough, you know, if you're like, you're going, it'd be one thing if he just worked with Michael and Chris and Trejo, but they bring their families around each other. They eat dinner together. This has got to be like Goodfellas, you know, when it was like, we did not go outside our group. You know, we were always hanging out together. Then, yeah, I could see him not being able to let go of Waingro. And I do get that kind of impression from them as a crew.
I don't know, but like I mean, like, if you're someone who can drop everything in 30 seconds flat and just leave, including your relationship.
See, and I don't even believe that to an extent. I think he talks a big talk, but I think that, I mean, do I think that Neil has done that multiple times? Absolutely. Do I think Neil can continue to do that? I don't think so, because he's getting older. He's probably outlived a lot of people that he's worked with. He's losing contacts. He's losing friends. I think the moment that John Voight is like, hey, yeah, Chris is gone, you can see it in De Niro's face. He looks behind, you know, John Voight like, what the fuck, man? You know, where are my friends? Chris is gone. Michael's dead. Trejo's dead. Like, everything is fucked right now. Like, this has got to be like what the beginning of Reservoir Dogs feels like, you know? It's like, who's dead? Who's alive? Like, what the fuck is going on? But I do think subconsciously there's probably a part of him that, you know, I like what Waingro said. Oh, he's real thorough. He's not going to forget about you. Is it subconscious, like, you know, thing about professionalism?
Yes, this forms like, part of the work. You know, like, I kind of like,
right. Can I leave this stone unturned? Right. You know, can I let the past lie in the past, or, you know, is it an integrity thing? Is it like, I think I'm doing a service by getting rid of this person? Honestly, you know, like Vincent, you know, it's like Waingro is kind of like Quentin Tarantino and From Dusk Till Dawn. You know, he's this crazy sexual, sexual assault perpetrator. He's awesome. He's an awful person.
I thought you were going to say he's an awesome person.
I think I started saying awesome. I was like, wait, no, he's awful. And then you've got Neil, who's kind of more like, Seth Gecko, who's more, you know, or a chill, and who's more professional about shit. And he's like, that's not how you do things, you know, and he's almost offended by the fact that that's how Ricci does things. So I wonder if it's something like that. Is it something about his professionalism? But I could definitely see there being subconscious, like, you know, of wanting to self-destruct, but I think that goes, that opens up a whole other can of worms of why is Neil feeling self-destructive? If that's the thing that he's wanting to get away from, he's having dreams about not having enough time, not doing the things he wants to do. You know, why would he want to subconsciously destroy him? But that's like a whole other can of worms.
Well, I mean, like, it could also be cockiness, right? I mean, like, he knows he's good at his job. He knows he's good at, like, killing people. He knows he's good at, pretty much everything that he's done his entire life. So, like, if he hears that Waingro is not expecting him, he's posted up in this hotel by himself, which he believes. It's just going to be an easy, 10 minutes. Like that's what he says to Edie when he leaves. He says, "I'll be back in 10. Keep the car running."
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
well, also, it's so out of character for Neil that Hannah's like, no, he's gone. He would never go after Waingro. But he does, and it's like, what the fuck? I'm sure Hannah would be like, why is he still here? Why the fuck is this guy still here? He should be gone. He should be miles away by now. And like, I've never really understood the need to go back because it's like, dude, you can leave and come back in a month and fucking kill this dude. It doesn't have to be now. You have $1 million. You can pay somebody to fucking kill him. You've got contacts. But again, that could be the thing of like him absolutely being the one to want to do it. But let me see here. I believe this is where we get that great scene. Sorry, I might be nope. No, I'm right on track. This is where he starts. He goes to the hotel, posing as a security guy to go get Waingro. We see the cops behind the counter and shit. I don't think we quite see it yet, but you see that big ass shotgun back there, and I was like, oh hell yeah, that's awesome. Neil pulls the fire alarm, starts getting some shit. This is where we got Hannah and Justine in the emergency room talking about, she chose you, she picked your place. And I'm like, I guess I feel like that's already kind of like implied, but okay. I guess you can fill it out. The only reason that I love this scene, and I like it because it does give like a proper conclusion to their relationship. They know that it's not going to work out, but at least on some base level, they'll still be there for each other, especially now. I do actually like that a lot. But the thing I love about this fucking scene is when she's like, oh, just go on, if you have to and stuff. And this shot of him running down the stairs, like his feet are moving so fucking
careful,
quick.
Man. Fucking gonna fall over and shit.
Dude, he's flying. It's one of my favorite shots in the whole movie. Back at the hotel marquee, De Niro tries to get Waingro out of his room. Why don't we just sit down there and talk about this, huh, brother? And the second he hears that door unhinge, it's awesome.
It's the door right in the face. It's only being held by the latch now. I can kick it in. Fucking man, like, look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, and do you think Neil knows that they're watching Waingro?
No, absolutely.
You think he knows that?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just, well, how? Why? Why would he? I
don't know. Because he's like, hey, assume they have our houses, our cars, like all of this stuff. Then I would assume that Waingro, if he tipped off Hannah and them, then I would be like, they might know that I'll be coming after Waingro. Hannah's smart enough to figure it. But I don't know. There's also Hugh Benny in there, and he has no idea about Hugh Benny. Like, he probably doesn't know that it's being tapped. But I'm sure he has a strong suspicion, at least, that they might be coming after him, or else why would he? He has this weird. Well, I guess he dresses up as this guy to kind of get into Waingro's room, but I don't know. I feel like he goes through a lot for when he could just walk up there and fucking shoot him,
Yeah. Yes. I would imagine. I think the reason he's dressed up is because he's just gone through this like big giant public shootout, so his face will probably be all over the 6 o'clock news. Cops or no cops that are watching this hotel,
dude. Amy Brenneman in the car, and like all of the there's like cops and fire trucks, and there's people walking by, and she's like, "Oh my god!" it's almost like a comedic sketch. Like, how many people has he killed in there already?
Out of Seinfeld,
yeah. Dude, the way Waingro dies,
terrifying,
he shoots him.
Man.
Oh man, whew. So, again, Hannah gets beat. Now he's on the scene. He's coming to the hotel marquee. And that's really what happens. You have, De Niro walks out and, sees Amy Brenneman, and then there's Pacino, and it's literally about 30 seconds. And then he's like, see ya, bye. And he dips and he just runs the other way. And it's so sad to watch. But at the same time, seeing Pacino just get closer and closer, it's like, dude, move, like, go, like, you've got to run, man. Like, you're not, this is not going to end up well in your favor. Like, you're surrounded by cops and somebody who knows who you are in that crowd. Like, get the fuck out of there. But I feel so much for Edie as she's just watching him back up and just run away from her. Like, God, to have already hated this person and then come back from that, even as flimsy as I think that is, I'll buy it for this pretense. Like, to hate somebody, like, to fall in love with someone like Neil and then hate them and then come back around to it and then them leave again is like, God damn, you really can pick them, can't you? Like, like, good God. And she's just stunned. I love her stunned stance as Hannah just sprints through the crowd. Like, oh my God, that's so good. But it also, this whole chase is like so evident of the fact of that thing that Neil has been trying to do the whole movie, which is blend into a crowd. And he's just always like, the second they turn around, they're like, where the fuck is he, dude? He's just gone. I think Amy Brenneman does a great job just right here, just watching this guy run off into the night. It's fucking awful. But this is it, man. Here we are.
By the music and everything, man. Like, oh, dude, one of my favorite shots here is Vincent running with the shotgun and he's in front of that hangar, and it's like kind of like a close up shot, but he's just like sprinting, and it's just he's so determined to get him. You can see it in his face just how obsessed he is with this. Yeah.
And here we are. I mean, our final showdown. What did you think about this the first time that you saw it?
Trying to do the Lufthansa heist.
Jimmy! What did you think about this first time you saw it? This ending.
I've obviously grown to love it. But, initially, because first time I saw it, I'm 13 or 14, I thought this was going to be a bigger ending, like scale-wise. So, I was like, fuck, you've got this big, like, bank heist shootout, whatever. How are they going to top this, Because, like, as a kid, you're wanting scale. You're wanting something bigger. Bigger means better, right?
Yeah. You're wanting, like, Endgame.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, I want Endgame now. But anyway, so, like, it struck me as anticlimactic when I was younger. But, like, now that I understand who these two are, and what they represent and what they mean to each other, and how intimate this is. And Vincent is incredibly clever, like looking at the shadows. This is, it's drawn out, it's quiet, and I love that it's like punctuated by the sound of the planes. But like, it's just so, it's a sad ending. It's actually really, really depressing. Because, Vincent stands over him and De Niro says, told you I'd never go back. And Vincent looks like he he just shot himself. He looks like he just shot someone that he, like basically a double of him, a mirror image of him, like someone who he can relate to, the only other person in the world who he can relate to, he just killed. Like, that is incredibly tragic, like now it's like, fuck, now who am I gonna have a conversation with? Now who am I gonna have an honest, deep and meaningful conversation with that I connect with on another level? It reminds me very, very much of Batman and the Joker. Like it's these two big, like, titan characters, but they understand each other. The Joker brings out the Batman, like the best parts of Batman, and like the Joker fucks with Batman because the Batman is the only person that the Joker kind of like relates with and, can actually talk to. And I'm sorry to bring it like to like superheroes, but like, I'm just kind of making an analogy. But like, I think ultimately that's really tragic and that's really sad. And like, that's why, the Joker is one of my favorite characters of all time, is like, he's just this really sad character because he's lonely and he can't talk to anybody. And the only other person that he can talk to is someone that he has to constantly antagonize and get the attention of. But here, like there's no prison for McCauley. He's dead. Vincent can't go see. Vincent can't talk to anyone on that level anymore, and it's sad.
Oh yeah, no, that and losing, it's kind of like their relationship is almost like the fox and the hound. You know, I don't know if you ever heard the story of the fox and the hound that became friends, and then basically the world was like, yeah, you're a fox and you're a hound, you can't be friends. You know, you're supposed to hunt each other. And I do think it helps strengthen that scene of Justine giving the monologue, and she's like, you go out into the night and you smell your prey and you hunt them down, and that's basically what he does. He stops and he surveys the land, and he's like, sees movement and just fucking pops him. And the way it's shot with him just peripherally seeing him, and he just points the gun and shoots and just happens to hit Neil, and then he locks in. And it's such a good like quick turn on that Pacino does. It's so good. And he's laser fucking focused, man. It's like this. I think that's some of Pacino's best work ever. It's just that laser focused little shit that he has going on. But yeah, that's the end of fucking Neil McCauley. I told you I wouldn't go back. We have this great track. Another one by Moby. God, I think it's God Over the Face of the Waters, I believe. I'll see if we can like pull up a clip or something and put it in, because it is incredible. And that final shot of Vincent Hannah just standing there holding the, you know,
in the darkness by
dead
himself.
Neil McCauley. Yeah, just having to stand there and just kind of take it all in is incredible, man. It's just what an ending, what a visual ending, and then you have the music that swells. I love it,
man. Like the look on Vincent's face is, you know, as because he was telling the truth in the cafe, like in the diner, 100%. He's not happy about this, you know, like he's. Yeah. Wow, man. It's done. I can't believe it's done. I can't believe we talked about Heat.
Yeah, me either. And the fact that we did it in less than 4 hours.
Yeah, I know. Better than LSG, you guys. I know you're listening.
Yeah. Why don't you want to do comments and then final thoughts?
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I'm just absolutely. Every time this movie ends, I'm just in awe. You know, it's just so. It's just such a powerful movie. You know, like it's like deceptively simple, but it's, you know, like it can appeal to like all levels. You know what I mean? Like you can watch it casually, but then you can also be like, fuck, you can break this down on a 3.5 hour podcast. All right, let me try and get some comments.
Oh, here, I've got some pulled up real quick.
Go for it.
Because you posted a question in the after party, but I'll go with the first one. I'll read our comments from Patrick Harrington of Married People Watch Movies, which I was just on, by the way. Go check his show out. We talked about Stephen King, Married People Watch Movies. It was a blast. Patrick Harrington, the sound design in this is amazing. How jarring is the gunfire? Loud and in your face. And that cast, good Lord, what a dream do Dreamcast? See what I did there? Great movie. Can't wait to hear you guys talk about this one. Thank you, buddy.
Do you want to read the answers to his questions? So I asked 3 questions. I asked, is Heat the definitive crime film? Number 2 is this Michael Mann's, Pacino's, De Niro's best film? If you were in Neil's shoes and were picking a crew to take down a bank, what 3 movie characters would you do it with? I just thought I'd throw in that fun one. I was like, see how we go with this. I might read Patrick's answers while we've got Patrick. If that's cool.
Go for it. Go for it.
He says, to the answer to number 1, as to whether this is the definitive crime film, he says probably not. Depends on what you put in the crime category too. Mob movies in another section. If not, there's a lot I'd put over this, like Godfather 1 and 2, Goodfellas, even Casino. This movie is great. Don't get me wrong. I just think those are stronger. If mob movies are out of the mix, this is number 1 or number 2 for sure. Yeah, look, when I think about Godfather, for some reason I don't think about crime. I don't think about the crime. Like, I don't know why. I think.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't consider mob movies. I can see the logic behind it, but personally, I wouldn't, you know.
He says Mann's best is and always will be The Last of the Mohicans. De Niro's is probably Godfather Part 2. I mean, what a film. Pacino's most iconic is Scarface. Is that his best? Probably. Again, it doesn't mean
that fucking movie.
I know you do. Look, but there's no denying that his performance as Scarface is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, he is good as Tony Montana.
Again, it doesn't mean Heat is bad. It's really fucking good, just not the best. And then he says, I'll take Star-Lord from the MCU, Ludwig Data from Army of the Dead, and Mr. White from Reservoir Dogs. We'll get caught and or killed, but there should be plenty of laughs.
Oh, nice. Let me see. Go for it. No, you read off the next one. I don't want to be a comment hog.
Yeah, I got Danielle. Danielle says, not sure if I'm getting this in on time or not, but I hope so. Yes, you are, Danielle. So thank you so much for commenting.
Yay!
She says, love this movie. It was one of those that I watched with my dad 1,000 times and we never seem to get tired of. The action, the violence, the acting, the set pieces, everything about it is pretty much perfection. Maybe not the definitive crime film, but definitely one of the best heist films ever made. It's my favorite Michael Mann film for sure. I don't know, but Pacino and De Niro, though, I have to think about that one. He would probably be my number 3, but number 1 would be Inside Man. Interesting. A Spike Lee movie. I love that.
Nice.
And number 2 would be Ocean's 11. She says, can't wait to hear the episode. Love it.
I've never seen any of the Ocean movies. Yeah, I hope you did.
Ocean's 11 is genuinely great. I haven't seen the other 2.
Yeah, I'm bad about like action-y heist movies and stuff. I do want to read a couple more. Jose Rivera, really quick one. I caught this one recently after years of hearing of how amazing it was. You know what? It more than lived up to the hype. And Tommy Lombardozzi, Tommy said, one of my favorites. Can't wait to hear the episode. And also, you can't talk about Heat without talking about Thief or LA Takedown. I watched that pilot recently. Not great, but all the same elements, even a lot of the same script. It's a daunting task to take this on, and I commend you, fellas. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed recording it. So
thank you so much
listening to it.
To the listeners, to the after party for commenting. I mean, like, I love when everyone gets involved. It's awesome. If you, by the way, that post also has some behind the scenes photos that I'd never seen before. I just thought they were really interesting, especially the one of like Val Kilmer lying there and Michael Mann's just over him. Like it looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Dude, final thoughts. I mean, what can I say? I haven't said in almost 3.5 hours. I love this movie. Is it perfect? Almost, not quite. I think there's a couple of things that can be juggled a little bit better, but the pros more than outweigh the cons. I think it's probably one of the best movies ever made. It's definitely one of the most underrated best of movies ever made. Like, I don't feel like people talk about this enough. Like, I definitely feel like it's popular, and I definitely feel like people who are big movie heads or like cinephiles like really know about it. And it's definitely popular. I can't say that enough, but I don't think that it quite has its place in the sun. I don't think it's quite at the level that it should be at. I think it's every bit as good as something of like Blade Runner or like Shawshank. I think it's incredibly good. But there's a couple of different things that I would change about it, but it's timeless. I could honestly sit down and watch it again right now. And I want to live that world. They make it so exciting. It's almost like Goodfellas in that sense. They make it so appealing at first. And, they make it like, oh yeah, you got this tight crew and they're professionals and they don't kill people if they don't have to. And it doesn't matter. This world doesn't matter. It's going to chew you up and spit you out. So I love this movie. I'm so glad that we came back, really swinging and started with this one. And I'm excited for Heat 2. I wonder what that novel. It's going to be a novel. It's not going to be a movie or a TV show or anything. So I'll definitely be, taking a look at that and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you said, man, this what a great film. It always leaves me speechless every time. This is it feels like you've gone on a journey with these characters. It feels like you've gone to Middle Earth, to Mount Doom.
Yeah.
So I just these feel like real and full and complete characters. And I don't I want to live in this world. I want to live in Michael Mann's LA. It's so absolutely gorgeous to look at.
His blue lit soaked LA.
Yeah. The dialogue is absolutely so gorgeous to listen to. It's almost as amazing as the sound of the gunfire itself. The pacing of this movie is absolutely incredible. It's amazing how he's able to do this. Like in other filmmakers' hands, a nearly 3 hour movie, but something that kind of like really like brisk, like it's totally brisk. Like, just like, damn, like where the fuck did that go? Where'd that 2 hours, 50 minutes go?
Right. Right. It's like a good day at work, man. It just flies by.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that, when I think of Michael Mann, I do think of Heat first, but I think Collateral is a little bit better for me. I love the intimacy of it. I love Cruise in that movie. I love Jamie Foxx, even Mark Ruffalo in that movie. And I love the idea of like 5 hits one night kind of thing. Like that just sounds awesome. So, yeah, look, I but when I talk about like these two movies, I think they're just pretty much neck and neck. Like this is
right.
It's pretty tough to like poke holes in this movie, like in terms of like what you like. It's pretty tough to hate this movie. Like I'm just gonna straight out. Like I don't think I've met anyone who said, "I fucking hate that movie." Like no, I think this is one of the best crime thrillers ever made. It's two of the best actors just absolutely going at it and giving it their all. This could have been a cash in, and it just wasn't. Like, you know, they could have just sold this movie just on those two people's, like, two actors' names, and it's just not that. Like, it's a director who wrote this script so long ago, and you feel his absolute love in it, in the script, and you're just like, yeah. It feels like a real world, and I love it. I love this movie. And I'm so glad to have covered it. I'm so glad to finally get this on our little podcast, I guess, register. And I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, what makes me think of Pacino and De Niro doing this in '95 makes me always like really. It always makes me really disappointed that Stallone and Schwarzenegger took so long to do a movie together. And those are they are not of the same acting caliber. I mean, Stallone has done some incredible shit, and Schwarzenegger's done some pretty cool shit as well. But they're not De Niro and Pacino. But it took them way too long, and it was like Escape Plan was the movie, and it's like, dude, but imagine a world where Righteous Kill was like the first thing they ever did together. It's like, oh, thank God for Heat, man. Guys, we really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it was a monster. Thanks for toughing it out and sticking with us all the way to the end. We really appreciate it. If you want to check out more of the show, we're on pretty much all social media. You can find our Facebook group called The After Party. Everybody's invited to that. You can find us on Twitter at MDFPod, on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. Shoot us an email, midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. Really, you can find everything on our website, midnightdoublefeature.com. It's going to have our links to our Patreon called The Green Room. It's $5 a month. You get 2 episodes a month bonus, and it goes to support the show so much. We have merch. We have written reviews and everything online. We also have our Bad Crystal podcast, which is a Breaking Bad podcast where we've been going through that. And you can check that, and you can check that out as well. Stop by and rate, review us on iTunes. Give us those 5 stars. It helps the show out tremendously. If you, hey, if you can do both, I love you for it. And I appreciate you guys staying all the way to the end of this. This was a lot of fun to do. This was a lot of fun to come back, and you're really, really set the bar in terms of films starting right off. I'm glad to have Zoheb back. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you're healthy. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.